We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Dan just walked in here. I said, did you miss the crisscross that much that you want to sit in on the first break? And he said no. He said, I forgot my sweater. Shout out to Dan.
He should have sat down.
He should have sat in.
Should have sat in.
It would have been welcome. I apologize for missing the crisscross. Traffic was traffic, and you know how that goes.
Dude, oh my goodness. I was in traffic for an hour and 20 this morning.
I made a decision a long time ago when I was like, I'm going to be commuting from Murfreesboro every day. I said, I'm just going to leave at the same time. And then everything else is in the Lord's hands. And most of the time, it's like, it's all good. You know, no stress. Sometimes, you know, when Joan's slacking on updating those traffic reports.
I don't slack.
It's tough for me. It's tough.
Don't think I'm not listening to you, bud.
It's just, you know, it's tough when it's like she only does it every 15 minutes. We need more frequency. It's tough.
Uh-huh.
I leave at 6:50. So I gotta wait. I gotta wait 10 minutes for that report.
So I should be sending you personalized traffic reports.
By all means.
Yeah. Okay.
Would accept the message. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I got real quick. Shout out to our sanitation guy, Mr. Eugene. He listens to the show every morning, and every Tuesday when he comes to pick up the receptacles, he lets the kids in the truck to honk the horn. I don't know if that's regulation or if you're allowed to do that or not. So don't rat on Mr. Eugene if that's against protocol.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Eugene.
That's dope, though.
He's the best. The kids love him. And thank you for listening. We got a lot to get to today. And please join us wherever you can. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on TuneIn. We're on the FM dial. You can watch the show as well on Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. The real ones are YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe. Why would you want to watch a radio show on your TV? Well, we'll have video elements for all the audio that you hear on your radio. And we're also, we're diving in. So for a while, when we would go into commercial break on the radio, we'd have a stagnant red screen. Mason has been trying to elevate that experience by playing more videos during the commercial breaks.
Yeah, just trying to make it a little more enjoyable for you.
Yeah, and I'm going to try and join you guys more live during the commercial breaks as well. Today we have some reaction from the streets of D.C. that I'm going to play in the commercial break on YouTube right as we go into commercials. It's got a little bit more of the curse words than we're allowed to say on the air.
Yeah.
Because of the FCC regulations. Even though our own president doesn't seem to worry about those things when he's in front of a podium or a microphone at times.
No, I believe Dan coined them as the presidential F-bomb.
Yeah, the presidential F-bomb. But we got this video of the police moving in D.C. and cleaning up the streets and the local youths reacting to it. And it's awesome. So we're going to play that during the commercial break. Hang out with us. There's a lot of fallout when it comes to what's happening in Washington, D.C. And I don't understand why everybody's so upset about it. Trump just wants the city to be safe for Americans. He had this line yesterday during his press briefing, which we covered a lot of it live. But there was one line that was so good. He said, "My father used to tell me that if you're walking into a restaurant and the front door is dirty, don't go in. Because if they're going to let the front door be dirty, then the kitchen's dirty too." And he said that Washington, D.C. is the front door for the nation. And if the front door is dirty, well, guess what it says about the rest of the country? And I heard that and I was like, man, that is a perfect way to put it. And the administration's been echoing the sentiment. Pete Hegseth was on with Laura Ingraham last night talking about federalizing Washington, D.C., and he said point blank, this is exactly what the American people voted for, and I couldn't agree with him more.
The emergency, and you said we're going to start seeing the National Guard this week. Tell us more.
This week and in coming weeks, and we're going to work right alongside our law enforcement partners as force multipliers. This is what the American people voted for, Laura. This is what the common sense, clarity, strength. I hadn't heard that story from President Trump before, the story he told about his father, that he told him, hey, son, if you look at the front door of a restaurant and it's dirty, then I bet the kitchen, you can count on the fact that the kitchen is too. And sat there thinking that's exactly right.
Yeah, nailed it. Now, a lot of people are very upset. The Orange Man bad crowd, they didn't waste any time. Trump was still in the press briefing room, and they found a podium outside in D.C. to rant about fascism, and we talked about that ad nauseum yesterday. I made a reel. Did you see my new YouTube short?
I did.
So I was gonna make fun of the fascism. And then I didn't mean to turn it into an ad for homeschooling, but we turned it into an ad for homeschooling. If you haven't seen the latest YouTube short, we'll be playing them on the YouTube stream in between commercial breaks. And you can also hop over to YouTube, hit like and subscribe and watch it now. But my son Brooks guest starred in the latest social media reel.
So good.
And then you know what happened? You know
What happened?
Leftists said mean things about him.
What?
They like roasted my son. And I honestly wasn't ready for it because he wasn't like going in or anything like that. He could have, believe me, he could have. But yeah, leftists come out of the woodwork, say mean things about a little kid. Psh. So don't let the leftists win. Go hit like and subscribe, or he's going to be sad all day.
All day sad.
You wouldn't want that, would you? No,
Absolutely
no, you wouldn't want that. But you have a lot of leftists who are coming out of the woodwork to say, "Oh, Donald Trump, how could you do this? Ooh, DC's not that bad." Meanwhile, while the protest was going on, there was a guy shot like a block away. Kid you not. Shot a block away. Washington Post, they put out an article where DC residents are claiming that the city is safe. And then those DC residents requested anonymity over concerns for public safety. Wait, what? Yep. You heard me right. Post Millennial has a story. As President Donald Trump has taken federal control of the police in Washington, D.C., as well as deployed the National Guard, some have claimed the nation's capital is fine. The move is not necessary. One resident who spoke to the Washington Post, however, wished to remain anonymous for their comment, calling it a safe city. This is despite having concerns of personal safety as their reason for not being identified in the article. Make it make sense. Can anybody? I mean, it's like Donald Trump wants the city to be safe, but since it's Donald Trump, he's wrong, and we're going to cut off our nose to spite our face. Is that what we're going to do? That's what the leftists in D.C. want to do. That's what they want to do. Not all leftists. MSNBC's Joe Scarborough this morning was reading aloud texts from a very liberal person. I quote, very liberal, the most liberal, if you will. And he's reading this text, and this liberal person was actually unloading on D.C. crime. This happened earlier today.
I want to read you a text from someone who, I won't say their name, but they're, we'll just say that they're very liberal. And he says, this may sound controversial, but I'm not totally opposed to Trump's National Guard move in D.C. I know he's doing it for politics, but crime remains rampant. I've had too many friends carjacked, shot at. None of us will walk more than 3 blocks after 8 p.m. 13-year-olds are committing many of these crimes. Quite a change from a decade ago when things were much calmer. Well, that actually sounds like the D.C. that I lived in when I lived a block behind the Supreme Court.
So I got a question for you. You know, just judging from that text, I said too many of my friends are being carjacked. So I would just ask you, where's the line in the sand on that? How many friends being carjacked becomes too many friends being carjacked? Is there a reasonable amount of friends to be carjacked? Is it 1, 2, 3? Where's the line in the sand? Too many of my friends are being carjacked. So it's not all the leftists are screaming orange man bad. Some of them understand what Donald Trump is doing. Some of them understand the violence and the crime in D.C. and why it needs to be cleaned up. Apparently, this friend of Joe Scarborough is one of them.
And, you know, every 3 days, one of my neighbors was getting held up at gunpoint. I mean, there has been a crime problem in D.C. At the same time, obviously, a lot of concerns. Will this look like June of 2020?
Oh, the summer of love. Yeah. Oh, will it? Will it look like June of 2020? Hey, Mason, I have a question for you. How many friends would it take to be carjacked before you said, I don't think this is a safe area?
Ooh, probably, if I really thought about it, one.
One.
I think one is a good answer.
Just about one. That's kind of where I land too. Many leftists though, they're trying to brush this away. Dana Bash, do you know what Dana Bash said yesterday on CNN? She said, as unsafe as you think DC is, the most dangerous day in the city, the darkest day, the most violent, well, that was January 6th, and that was because of Donald Trump.
I should note that the most violent moment in recent history in D.C. was January 6th. And it was an attack on the United States Capitol by a lot of people who were doing it in the name of Donald Trump. And it included, the people who were hurt included members of law enforcement.
So sad. So sad. I would like to remind you, January 6th was the darkest day ever. And while you're worried about crime in D.C., we're not over January 6th. You know, it's funny. Dana Bash wasn't the only one who brought up January 6th yesterday. There was another person who brought up January 6th yesterday. One, maybe you've heard of her, Nancy Pelosi. Maybe you've heard of her. Nancy Pelosi took to X yesterday, and she said, Donald Trump delayed deploying the National Guard on January 6th when our Capitol was under violent attack and lives were at stake. Now he's activating the D.C. Guard to distract from his incompetent mishandling of tariffs, healthcare, education, and immigration, just to name a few blunders. Let's work in reverse order. Immigration. Hey, how many illegal crossings do we have at the border? Oh, it's a goose egg. It's a goose egg. Education, we're sending it back to the states, dismantling the Department of Education, where 50% of the overhead goes to teachers' unions and just office stuff, you know, paperwork. Got it. Healthcare. Favored nations bringing down prescription costs. What a blunder. Getting illegal aliens off Medicare and Medicaid. Woof, this guy can't be serious. Mishandling of tariffs. How much revenue are we getting in on tariffs? Oh, that's right. Hundreds of billions of dollars. Hundreds of billions of dollars. He's mishandled everything. Now, somebody took a bit of offense to Nancy Pelosi bringing up J6 yesterday, and that was one former D.C. police chief, Steve Sund. Steve Sund said, ma'am, he quoted Nancy Pelosi's post, by the way. He quoted it. He said, ma'am, it's long past time to be honest with the American people. On January 3rd, I requested National Guard assistance, but your sergeant at arms denied it under federal law. I was prohibited from calling them in without specific approval. That same day, Carol Corbin at the Pentagon offered National Guard support, but I was forced to decline because I lacked the legal authority. On January 6th, while the Capitol was under attack, and despite my repeated calls, your sergeant at arms denied my urgent requests for over 70 agonizing minutes, running it up the chain for your approval. When I needed assistance, it was denied. Yet when it suited you, you ordered fencing topped with concertina wire and surrounded the Capitol with thousands of armed National Guard troops. Boom, roasted. Many people are calling out the ratio that was heard around the world. And I think it's also important to once again highlight the fact that Nancy Pelosi herself on January 6th on camera admitted that it was her fault that there were no National Guard in D.C. and said that it was her fault and she should have acted. And we have it on video. You got me on audio there? It's not working. Why isn't it working?
The House GOP obtaining the video of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi speaking with her chief of staff as she evacuated the Capitol that day. Pelosi heard blaming herself for not having the National Guard on hand to stop the mob.
Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with? I take responsibility for not having them. Just prepare for more.
Why wasn't the National Guard there to begin with? Said Nancy Pelosi. Well, you denied it. I take responsibility. Fair enough. That's probably the right way to go. But this is where we're at. Leftists very upset. Secretly, those leftist residents understand what Donald Trump is doing. And while they may not admit it publicly, they understand that D.C. is falling apart, and that's the front door of the nation, and it's got to be cleaned up. And while they'll yell and they'll scream, "Orange man bad," they all know the reality of living in Washington, D.C. Scott Jennings on CNN last night was talking about the reality of living in Washington, D.C., and he said, I don't need your statistics to tell me that D.C. is an unsafe place. I have eyes to see, and you walk around, and you can learn firsthand very, very quickly.
You know, a few months ago, I was in Union Station and saw a body hit the floor at the bottom of the escalator in Union Station because there was a murder right in front of me. Up on the second floor, I was going to get a tie. And I heard the shots and saw the body hit the floor. So I've been listening all day long to people trying to make some argument that Washington, D.C. is a safe place. It's not a safe place. And we can argue about statistics and numbers. There's a police commander right now on suspension because there's some allegation that the statistics have been altered. But we can argue about that all day long. Nobody in their right mind who lives there or visits there on a regular basis would tell you that Washington, D.C. is safe, and everybody who goes there knows it.
Boom. Roasted. Do you know how I know D.C. is unsafe? Yeah, I saw a guy get murdered at Union Station, so there's that. Yeah. Union Station, I mean, beautiful building. Absolutely just trashed by the homelessness, the vagrants, the crime. That's pretty much everywhere in D.C. A lot of reaction coming in. The chairman of the D.C. Police Union, does he support Donald Trump taking this action? Well, he found a microphone. He talked about it last night. We'll bring you those comments when we return. It's 9:22. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, perfect. We're up on the stream. We're running live on the stream. So I wanted to play this clip of D.C. already cracking down on crime because it's glorious. It didn't take any time at all for Donald Trump to say, enough is enough. We're moving in. We're cleaning this up. I think going on. And the youths of D.C. taking to TikTok to talk about and document the cleanup in progress.
Hey, bro, they deep as shit at Anacostia, Slim. They locking everybody up, bro. You ain't pay for that. Metro, Slim, you was done. Police officer everywhere, Slim. Look, they not fucking planning this jump, bro. The fuck, they locking everybody up, Slim. Oh, bro. I mean, they just pulled their ass over there over, Slim. You done.
Let's go. They locking everybody up, son. Slim. They're not playing around here. Good. And the locals take notice. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Hey, we'll be back with more reaction from D.C. in just mere moments. Thank you for joining us exclusively on the YouTube stream. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, all the things. We appreciate you guys. Big heart. Love you.
Coming up on Super Talk 99.7, a robbery gone bad at an Antioch business overnight, and why President Trump is putting Jerome Powell in the crosshairs once again today. That and more coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Could it be that Jerome is a bit too late?
Oh, well, there's that too.
I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil
That's
it.
probably the agitating factor.
Joan Jones going to let you know why Donald Trump is agitated in mere moments. It's 9:28, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Shout out to everybody watching on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like and subscribe. Thank you guys for listening wherever you're listening. So the D.C. Police Union chairman, what does he think about the federalization of D.C.? Well, he was talking about it yesterday on Fox News.
President, that crime in the District of Columbia is out of control and something needs to be done with it. We have to go back to how we got here, though. In 2020, the D.C. City Council passed an enormous amount of legislation that handcuffs police officers, exposes them to administrative, civil, and even criminal liability, even when they do their jobs properly. And now, 5 years later, our authorized sworn strength is 4,000 sworn police officers. We currently have 3,180. So we have more than 800 vacancies for the position of police officer.
Crazy.
And the way the department makes up for that gap is through 2 million hours of mandatory overtime.
Yeah, 2 million hours of mandatory overtime. I'm sure there's no issues with that.
Every year. So the fact that we need help from federal law enforcement and maybe even the National Guard, it shouldn't come as a surprise, and we agree with that. I think one of the issues here, though, is that we all know that's going to be temporary. So in order to fix this problem and make sure that it doesn't ebb and flow and that the feds come in and we lower crime and then they leave and we're left holding the bag, it's very important that people know that there is underlying legislation that needs to be corrected so that we can actually properly staff this police department in order to properly police the city.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's not wrong. You've seen policies in a lot of these big blue liberal cities that just handcuff the police. And the police aren't allowed to do their job. And if they are, they're nervous about the repercussions. They're nervous about the lawsuits. They're nervous that they're going to be hung out to dry by the city that they're sworn to serve and protect. So, yeah, there does have to be some changes at the end of all of this. But initially, Donald Trump federalizing the city, the chairman of the D.C. Police Union, fully supports this action by the president. What does the mayor of D.C. think? Spoiler alert, she's a little salty. I'll bring you more of that on the way. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Metro Nashville police are searching for two men who shot up a tobacco store on Bell Road overnight. Channel 4's Alexandria Adams telling us that two men wearing masks began arguing with a male employee just before midnight.
Well, police saying that shots were first fired inside before the fight spilled out into the parking lot, where the shootout continued. The employee now in the hospital with some serious injuries, but he is expected to survive.
And police have not yet identified the shooters. In Spring Hill, a 17-year-old was found shot to death in the parking lot of an apartment complex Sunday night. That incident rattling the neighbors at Grand Reserve Apartments.
Unbelievable, shocking. It's like, oh my God, this is a baby.
Investigators believe the shooter fled the scene in a blue sedan. Inflation in July came in a tad lower than expectations. It also revealed that the cost of food at the grocery store is lower. That's great news for consumers and also good news for the stock market today. The Dow Jones Industrials are up right now 404 points. The NASDAQ gaining 124. S&P 500 index, that's up 37 points. Meantime, President Trump posting on Truth Social this morning, threatening a major lawsuit against Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell for his management of the renovations at the Fed's headquarters in Washington, D.C. The president has said in the past that the renovations went well over budget and that Powell has mismanaged taxpayer funds. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Oh, sorry. I was responding to liberals in the YouTube chat, telling them to call in. Do you think they will? What's the over-under on that? It's probably low. Probably low chances. Hey, real quick, I got to tell you about my friends over at Better Water LLC. We talk about these guys all the time. Patriots. If you need a water filtration system, buy it from somebody that doesn't hate you. Buy it from Better Water LLC. If you're tired of the weird smell, stains, or just plain old bad tasting water at your house or office, Better Water is going to clean it up for you. Think about it like a giant Brita filter for your entire house, or they can scale it down to under your sink, or they can do it for your whole office, and they'll handle removing everything. You could have some nasty stuff in the water that you're bathing in, you're drinking, you're making coffee with this stuff. It could have sulfur, iron, chlorine, bacteria, even E. coli. Now, Better Water will test your water for free. If you got that nasty stuff in it, they offer a range of options from reverse osmosis, specialized filters, to UV lights. Better Water has you covered. They're already treating the water at the hospitals and coffee shops around town. Local company, and they're going to take care of your water. It's time to stop drinking the junk out of your tap. Give Better Water a call today, 615-355-6063, 615-355-6063, or find them online, betterwater.com. If you didn't have the gig that you have and you're not at the White House, you're not the reporter, would you raise a family in that area?
Absolutely not.
And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
It's brutal out here. It can be really, really tough. I don't live in D.C. proper anymore because it's just gotten kind of out of control. It's gotten dirtier, it's gotten more crowded, and a lot more violence, as you just alluded to. But my first year living here, I was seeing a lot of that, and it grew very quickly. So I moved here, I would say, in 2023. By the time I moved out after a year, it got really crowded. It got really messy. I remember getting emails from my apartment complex saying that there was a shooting just across the street, and it was maybe every other weekend. And I was saying, what decision did I make to even live here? I mean, obviously close proximity to the White House, which is what I wanted.
Yeah.
But wow, what a difference a year makes under a leadership that doesn't really care that much about crime.
.937 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We got Joan Jones just crushing it in the newsroom. We got Mason Fleming taking the show to a whole new level as the producer. And you guys on the text line, the phone lines, in the YouTube chat, we appreciate you however you're joining us. And have you seen the YouTube chat giving the business to our liberal friend? I mean, they're giving him the business.
It's been interesting.
For
for sure.
Well, so our friend, It's Milk, he's in the YouTube chat every now and again. He says he doesn't support us, but he's always giving us a view. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, he's always a little sour, but we're happy to have
He's
him.
always adding to the engagement, so thank you. But he's always got something to say. So I said, call in. Just call in. Like, let's have a conversation. And he said, I don't talk to pedo supporters. Okay, got it. That's a tired one. So the rest of the chat's been giving it to him. You see that? So
They're going
conservative veteran said the milkman can't handle a conversation with Chris, and then did a chicken emoji. Who did it? Was it Brad? It said its milk doesn't have the stones to have an actual conversation. Greg, I love these keyboard warriors. Yeah. Hey, listen, we like milk. We appreciate you being in the YouTube chat. We appreciate you riling everybody up. You're welcome to call in. Anybody is 615-737-9986. Milk is mad because we're talking about the crime in D.C. And he's like, the crime's been down. They've been fudging the stats. There's people in trouble for fudging the stats. And you're seeing that across blue cities all across the country. Now, while the protesters were out there yesterday saying, crime is down, orange man bad, there was a shooting like a block away. Like within walking distance. So, yeah, crime is down. Did you notice that? Crime's way down. It's funny, though. The Attorney General of D.C., he's on record saying, guys, we can't just arrest and prosecute our way out of this crime problem. But I thought crime was down. I thought there was no crime. Well, weird. This is Brian Schwab. He's the Attorney General of D.C., again, saying, we can't just arrest and prosecute our way out of the crime problem.
During the discussion, residents did not hold back, voicing their frustrations.
I blame the system.
Many questioning why kids aren't being held accountable.
We as a city and a community need to be much more focused on prevention and surrounding young people and their families with resources if we want to be safer in the long run. We cannot prosecute and arrest our way out of it.
Oh. We can't prosecute and arrest our way out of crime. What we have to do is throw money at it. What do you think? You think that's a solid plan? You think that's solid? I don't know. Personally, I don't think throwing money at it is going to solve it at all. I want the best for these kids, and I do. My heart breaks for a lot of these young kids. I don't think a lot of them have a fair shake. I don't think a lot of them have a fair chance, and I think it's just the nature of how they're being raised and growing up in this world, a lot of fatherless homes, and it's heartbreaking. I don't think any 13-year-old should be running around carjacking people. And I think there's a lot of issues in that family if you find yourself in that position, 100%. And I want these kids to succeed. Those kids succeeding leads to the country succeeding. But the reality of the situation is you need a bit of a deterrent. And when the Attorney General of D.C. is saying we can't arrest and prosecute our way out of this, That's a red light going off in all these kids' heads going, well, I'm not going to get arrested or prosecuted. I'm not going to be held accountable. And when there's no accountability, the crime just continues to get worse and worse and worse, and we've seen it. Now, sources close to D.C.'s mayor, Muriel Bowser, say that she's furious. She is red hot, just pissed. And her lawyers are telling her that she has no legal grounds to challenge the president with his federalization of D.C.'s police. Like, sorry, he's allowed to do it. He declared a crime emergency, so you got to bend the knee. Your hands are completely tied, much like you tied the hands of police in your city for years and years and years. Welcome. So she's pissed. Absolutely pissed. But she deserves to be pissed. She ruined the city. She allowed it to get this bad. And we can do this with just about any other mayor in just about any other big blue city on down the line. You want to join the conversation? 615-737-9986. Let's go to Brian in Nashville. What's up, Brian?
What's up, brother?
How you doing, man? What you got?
Man, I'm doing good. Sometimes I overdo it, but I want to say build more prisons. I've been saying that for years. And I think we ought to come up with something for the parents, special prisons for them. Because they're poisoning our society by not raising children correctly. I mean, I guess it's easy to do the sex act, but it's tough when that comes to fruition and God blesses you with a child and you don't care. And so those children seek out attention in different ways. And if they have some nurturing from their mother and some discipline from their father, I think that goes a long way. But I really want to also speak to, last night I was watching Fox News, and I like Fox, but sometimes they're liberal. They really are. And they showed these statistics, and I want to say it was on Hannity, where they compared last year's stats and said things are down, all the violent crime in D.C., and they said year-to-date versus a whole year in 2024. I mean, how stupid of them to do that? You take today's numbers, that's what, 4 months left or 5?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
These people saying that it's down, that we can't arrest our way out of this, yes, we can. Once we send the messages like Donald Trump's doing with all around the country, once we send the message, I believe people will get it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I appreciate the call, man. As always, thank you so much. You know, to his comments, we can't arrest or prosecute our way out of it. That was the D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab on record saying that. It brings me back to the conversation we had with John Rose just it was last week. John Rose was in here. He's running for governor. Maybe you've heard of him. A lot of people like that interview. You can find it on demand on the YouTube page. But he did say one thing that caught my attention, and it was about Memphis. And he said a lot of the violent crime can be traced back to the same 600 individuals. I bet you could do that in just about every big blue city because of the revolving door at these jails. These kids aren't being held accountable. They're being released same day, and then they're getting out and they're committing more crime. Donald Trump said yesterday the murder rate in Washington, D.C. is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, and some of the worst places on earth. Is that what we want for our nation's capital? I don't think so. And I know you don't think so as well. Yet leftists out there are very mad. Very, very mad. They're finding podiums. They're protesting. They're not going to work. They don't have jobs, so they're going to protest anything Donald Trump does. Judge Jeanine Pirro was giving an interview yesterday. She is now the D.C. prosecutor, and Judge Jeanine just absolutely takes no prisoners when it comes to crime in D.C. And they were talking about the numbers. A reporter said to Judge Jeanine, "Ma'am, the numbers are down." And she said, "Excuse me?"
Per 100,000.
Why now? Because
Hang on one second. Sorry, I got too much audio running in the background. That's what happens when I got too much stuff going on. All right, this is Judge Jeanine on the numbers and whether or not they're down. A reporter brought this to her yesterday.
also some violent crime is down. Why now? Why now? Because, it may be down, but the question is always down from what? If we had the fourth largest highest homicide rate in the country 2 years ago, all of a sudden it goes down. People want to pat themselves on the back? No way. Talk to any of the crime victims. I was just at a college a couple weeks ago where I had photos of young kids who were victims of homicides, of shootings, and it happens over and over again. It's not okay because it's down from last year. It's bad. This is the nation's capital. This is a shining city on the hill. We're not going to tolerate it. People are afraid to come to this city.
Facts. I love that. Oh, you're gonna pat yourself on the back. Numbers are down. Numbers are down. Down from what? And if D.C. has a worse murder rate than Bogota, Colombia, or Mexico City, why are you patting yourself on the back? Exactly. But there are leftists out there, liberals, who are very upset. Jamie Raskin went on CNN, and Jamie Raskin, listen, he admitted that there's a public safety problem in D.C., but he's like, but we can't trust the orange man to fix it. And it's like, okay, well, your big blue city leadership hasn't done a damn thing about it, and you're admitting that it's unsafe. So if not Trump, then who?
But people don't always feel the statistics, right? Do you, as someone who works in the District of Columbia, you drive through it all the time, you know a lot of people who live here all the time, do you feel like crime is down in D.C. compared to other more recent years?
Well, definitely when you compare it to other periods in the history of Washington, D.C., when there was very serious spikes in crime and it felt really dangerous to go out. But look, I agree, you can't feel safe enough, especially these days. The question is who you trust to promote your security.
Are you going to trust Orange Hitler? I mean, that's basically what he's saying. You're going to trust the big orange Mussolini? Is that what you're telling me? Yeah, because the Democrat leadership did nothing. They've sat on their hands. So if not Trump, then who? Let's go to Sean in Lebanon. What's up, Sean? Long time no talk, man. How are you?
Good, Chris. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. And just to recap, Sean is you were a former police officer in Chicago. So this topic probably touches your heart a little bit closer.
It does. I mean, and again, I didn't realize some of the nuances with the D.C. area and, the restrictions that they're dealt. But, we keep talking about these big cities and their numbers and, how is it these numbers are going down supposedly. There's a reason why the FBI publishes an annual crime report.
Yep.
And there is a reason why the FBI does not use numbers from cities like Chicago, and LA, one, partly because of the population, two, because they out and out know that they're false. I was a homicide detective for 5 years up there, and from October on, now November on, we knew if we had a death investigation, we weren't to touch that if the autopsy came back as a homicide. We weren't to reclassify until after January 2nd, when the city would release their numbers.
Huh.
And then, 10 days later, we would reclassify everything. The city would put out the revised numbers, but the media would never pay attention to it. So, how did these numbers miraculously increase by 15, 20, which would put them over? So it's all the shell game and everything. And, I know Matt had his beer summit with somebody in Davidson County last night, supposedly. I hope he was able to talk some sense into him, because Matt can be persuasive.
Yep.
But looking at what Freddie is doing, it is Chicago 25 years ago, and it breaks my heart because all these other communities around Nashville are going to be dealing with the repercussions of what he's trying to do.
When do the people of Nashville wake up to that?
Matt, or Chris, I'm sorry, I'd love to know that, but unfortunately, when you're dealing with the Democrat Party and the ultra liberals, I mean, Chicago hasn't learned their lesson, and they've dealt with the Rahm Emanuels, they've dealt with the Lori Lightfoots, they're dealing with Brandon Johnson. I despise Rich Daley Jr., but if I was living up there still, God forbid, I would take Rich Daley back in a heartbeat compared to these three idiots.
Hey, I appreciate the call, Sean. Thanks so much. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the show. 615-737-9986. Let's go to James on the road. What's up, James?
Hey, bud, I'm going to try to make this real quick because I'm fixing to be 62 years old, and I'm fixing to make a statement that may make a lot of people mad.
Oh, sign me
but
up. Let's go.
I do get people at my church upset. I want to talk about these next midterm elections.
Yes, sir.
What is going to dictate who wins these next midterms are the people that on Sunday morning they get up, they put their little suits on, and they drive miles down the road and they enter the church and they praise the Lord. And I'm a Christian, proud Christian. But where I get upset is because every midterm I hear it. Hey, bud, you go vote? No, man, the president's not being elected. And, I got off work. I had to go get a haircut.
Yep.
Let me tell you something. Ever since I've been born, all I've heard is it's only getting worse.
Yep.
Oh, man, how the world is getting so bad, it's getting worse. We've got somebody in there, and Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and Cash Patel that's doing the damn job. Let them do it. Shut your mouth and let them do it. And the midterm elections, put down the ice cream, get your rear end up out the daggum refiner, and go vote.
Amen, James. Amen. And I appreciate the call, as always. That was a big topic of conversation during the 2024 presidential run. We talked about that ad nauseum. Christians do need to get up and vote. And if every Christian in this country voted, it would be a completely different landscape. Unfortunately, a lot of Christians sit elections out. And I think you'd have more Christians sitting out the midterms than you would the presidential election, just because, the nature of those elections. But yeah, no, we got to get motivated. We got to get politically active, and we got to vote to save the country. Midterms are going to be here before we know it. James is absolutely right. We got to get loud. We got to get active, and we got to motivate people to get out there and vote. There's a lot of churches that just want to sit on the sidelines. They don't want to do politics. I think that's wrong. I do. If we want to save this country, we're going to have to be paying attention. A lot of stuff like this is waking people up. It's waking up leftists. A lot of protests happening in D.C. yesterday. But I will say this, the protests are a little bit more disjointed than they have been. In fact, you had leftists attacking leftists yesterday, protesting Donald Trump federalizing the D.C. police. Yeah, it was weird. I'll bring you that audio when we get back. We'll talk about it. It's 9:53. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And if you're tired of pain running your life, it's time to call the Wellness Institute of Nashville. A lot of times they'll get a patient in, they'll be like, why didn't I call you guys first? Don't let that be you. Call them first. Whether you're dealing with neck pain, back pain, knee pain, sciatica, numbness, they can fix it all. And what they're going to do is not give you drugs. They're not going to say, let's get you into surgery. No. They're going to focus on non-surgical spinal decompression, robot lasers, and even anti-gravity machines. So you're not going to find that surgery. You're not going to find injections, and you're not going to find painkillers. But you're going to find a solution, and that's key. Grab your MRI, get ready to finally understand your condition, and fix it. Now, you can get all of this for just $12 with the BDT. That's the Big Daddy Trump special. That gets you your first full exam, x-rays if needed, a well-explained diagnosis, and your first treatment for only $12. Call them today. Don't miss this deal. 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or find them online, painisbad.com. Now, before you ask, I definitely voted for this.
Okay. They didn't take Reese's or food stamps no more, no candy. So they went live when they said they're going to take out all the snacks. They're taking away all the snacks on EBT. But what's the point of having it?
God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds.
Go on, get your butt to work if you want to get some fudge rounds. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
The Reese, they didn't take the Reese out. Food stamps is boring right now.
Good morning, 10 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. New information about the Music City Loop. The Boring Company's website now says site preparation is underway and tunneling is expected to begin in October with one tunnel boring machine near the state capitol at first. At least 6 machines will be used for that project in total. The company plans to construct at least 3 more tunnel launch sites as the project develops. The search is on for a hit-and-run driver who killed a woman in Murray County last week. 32-year-old Rachel Jones was the mother of 2 young daughters, ages 5 and 6 months. Shelby Boone lives near the crash site and talked to Channel 4.
For the family, I hope they get closure and they found out what happened. And for the person, I just wish they would have stopped and, at least called.
It happened on Highway 7 after Jones's car broke down and she went walking for help. Anyone with information is being asked to contact the Tennessee Highway Patrol in Lawrenceburg. An ATV crash in Antioch last night. It happened around 8:15 near Hobson Pike and Smith Springs Parkway. News 2 reports a 17-year-old boy is in critical condition, another unstable. More details on this when it becomes available. A big apartment operator in the Nashville, Murfreesboro, Franklin area has just settled a lawsuit over price fixing. Greystar was accused by the federal government of using an algorithm to collude with other landlords on setting rental prices at the nearly 1 million units it owns across the country. Greystar admitted no wrongdoing with this settlement. Ford Motor Company just announcing a $5 billion investment in plants in Kentucky and in Michigan to build a new vehicle. It's an all-electric pickup truck with a $30,000 starting price tag. CEO Jim Farley telling Fox Business they're building it differently than the Henry Ford production line model.
And the way we do that is we build the front and the rear separately from the middle. We'll use the battery as a structural member of the vehicle. We'll put the seats right on the battery. And at the very end of the assembly line, we combine all 3 into a finished vehicle. And that is a lot more efficient.
Farley says this truck is for people who only commute about 100 or 200 miles a day because it can plug in at home. It'll be ready for a sale in 2027. And yes, inflation is accelerating, but no, not as much as economists were expecting. The Consumer Price Index came in at 2.7% for July. That's less than the 2.8% they were expecting. Dow Jones right now up 471 points. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name's Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I got a text from BC. You know what he said? He said, why do people need water filter systems? And I said, well, that's simple.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Betterwater.com. It's funny again.
I love that so much.
All right, so we got a lot to cover. We do. Leftists are very mad at me. They're texting in. They're jumping in the YouTube chat, but they're not calling in. I've asked them to call.
Do they know if there's a phone line?
615-737-9996. I got a text from Jeremiah, one of our favorite liberal texters.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, I love how anybody that doesn't agree with you is a liberal. Okay? Call in.
Call in, prove them wrong.
615-737-9996. They won't call.
No, they won't.
They never do.
No.
We got the milkman in the YouTube chat. He's all hot and bothered by this too.
Just a little bit.
Did you see the leftist protesters yesterday in D.C.?
I did see the leftist protesters yesterday in D.C.
They were really melting down to the point where they're now fighting amongst each other because they're just overwhelmed by Donald Trump's greatness.
Not to fight each other. That's what they want us to do. The answer is to take to the streets. They are installing a fascist America and a fascist takeover of D.C. It is time to unite, not to fight each other the way they want us to do. And it is
So now this woman, she really wants to get rid of the fascist takeover of America. At least she said fascist right.
She got it right.
It wasn't fascist. It's an upgrade. But if you're watching on the YouTube stream, you're seeing. Okay, I don't know how to describe this. I guess let me describe it like this for anybody that's just listening on the FM dial. You have Boomer Karen with a megaphone versus Soccer Mom Karen. Okay. Soccer Mom Karen comes into the picture. She starts trying to sing over Boomer Karen with a megaphone. And now what you're having is Boomer versus Millennial Karens. Does that make sense? Is that about right? I think that sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
time to get people into the streets. To get people into the streets. Leave here! Leave here! Leave here! Leave here! Leave
You're hearing other... and they're fighting over a megaphone. It's really weird. They're melting down. Are
they trying to see which liberal can be louder?
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know, man.
I don't think they do either.
So they're fighting each other. One of them didn't want a fascist takeover of America, and the other liberals said, "How dare you? Give me that megaphone." It's really, really quite odd. There are other leftists in D.C. Like this lady. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, well, you'll see her piercing of choice. What do you call those? It's like the ones that you see on the old cartoon bulls that come out of the nose. Do you know what those are called, Mason?
No, I don't.
There's a name for them.
Really?
I don't know. Well, I know there's a name for them. I can't recall. I was hoping you would know.
I was ready for it.
You're supposed to be cooler than me. You're supposed to know those things.
I wish.
We brought you in for the youth angle.
You chose the wrong hire.
Right.
Oh no.
So anyway, she's got a little nose ring that connects on both sides and looks like she needs to be chased by a matador. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right. She's got an idea to help the homeless that are being cleaned up and moved out of D.C. Ready?
All right, it's August 11th. I am outside Union Station in D.C., where folks on the ground are telling me that they are about to start rounding up unhoused people tonight.
Unhoused people. Unhoused people. You say unhoused, I say homeless drug addicts. Tomato, right? Tomato.
The folks here at the encampment in front of Union Station are handing out these whistles to give to unhoused folks. That way they have a way to call for help if they are kidnapped by federal law enforcement. So if you're in the area and able to swing by right in front of Union Station, they have tons of these. Bring them back to folks in your community so they have a way to call for help.
Yes. It is the natural defense against any federal agents. Everybody knows that what a federal agent can't handle is a whistle. So all you have to do is blow that, and what federal agents do every time I've seen this in practice, you blow the whistle, they cover their ears instantly and they run the other way. Did you know that?
Federal agents do that?
Federal agents.
What?
Yes. This is the most foolproof plan that I've ever seen in D.C. for the unhoused. What we're going to do is we're going to blow whistles.
If you are not in DC, I'm going to tag Free DC Project. They are an excellent organization helping the community here locally. Definitely follow them, support them if you can, and help spread the word, because this is how a fascist authoritarian regime starts. So I will be on the ground in DC reporting on the shit show.
Nope. Can you beep that for me? Mason, dump that. Mason, dump that. Sorry, I didn't know she said the S word. She said the S word.
Stupid?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We got rid of it.
Gone.
So anyway, they're handing out whistles. They're handing out whistles. Whistles.
Yeah. By the way, Ike from Murfreesboro just called in.
Ike did?
Yeah, he had an update on what those piercings are called.
What are they called?
Hog rings.
Oh, jeez. Everybody on the text line says they're referred to as bull rings or septum piercings.
Yeah, septum piercings is what I found.
That's the technical term.
That's the technical term. But Ike said hog rings because it's what gets hogs out of the mud.
Oh, jeez. So this woman, clearly not smart. You can tell that by the piercing choice. But she's handing out whistles. Whistles. That's a plan. It's definitely a plan. As they hand out whistles, there are many people in D.C. that are very grateful for the fact that Donald Trump has federalized police and is getting control of crime.
Now, however, I also talked to a relative of a young girl who was recently shot in the arm at a courtyard on the 800 block of Yuma Street. And she tells me that she welcomes this new executive order, saying that if President Trump can make the streets safer in D.C., she's all for it. As for that young girl, she had surgery today and she is still recovering at a hospital.
Yeah, people that have been victims of the crime understand that Donald Trump is trying to help fix the crime. Now, you're going to hear a lot of stories about the protesters. Were there a lot of protesters? I think that's a matter for debate. Depending on who you like, who you trust as a source, there are reports out there that there were a lot more media than protesters. Laura Loomer posted this video. It could be a bit deceiving. You never know with the protest stuff, right? Maybe this is as they're setting up and they're getting ready. But Laura Loomer was reporting that a lot more media than protesters. And if you watch this video on the YouTube stream, you'll see just that. Quite a bit more members of the media than you're finding protesters in D.C. So something to keep your eye on. Maybe the outrage is a bit manufactured. Maybe this was early, and maybe more protesters showed up. It did look like more protesters when they were fighting amongst each other. So there's that. There's other leftists that have an idea on how to protest Donald Trump. I saw this making its rounds on Twitter. It's from Instagram. The Free DC Project, the same group that's handing out those whistles. They want people to get loud. So they're having a pots and pans banging event. So they don't want you to comply. What they want you to do is at 8 o'clock every night to go out your door and bang pots and pans to voice your displeasure.
At what time?
8 p.m.
Oh, that's so late.
Starting tonight and every night of this occupation, go outside at 8 p.m. and bang pots and pans. Sing, chant, or make noise for 5 minutes. When your neighbors come out to ask what's going on, talk with them about what's happening. Post your noise making to social media. Invite friends to come join you. See, I'm sure this is going to win people over. If your neighbors were coming out of their house at 8 o'clock at night every night and losing their minds banging pots and pans, would you be won over by that?
I think I'd join them.
You would join them?
Yep. Oh, wait. Sorry. No. I was being facetious.
No.
Facetious.
Larry in Clarksville. What's up, man? How are you doing?
Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. What do you got?
Well, first of all, Joan has beautiful maters.
Okay, good to know. Well, duly noted.
But if Muriel Bowser had done her damn job, Donald J. Trump would not have to send a National Guard into D.C.
Exactly. I mean, underline, put it in bold. That's the headline right there. If you weren't so grossly incompetent, then Donald Trump wouldn't have to do any of this.
And listen, Muriel Bowser, whatever her damn name is, yeah, she could walk down the streets at night because she's scarier looking than any of the darn criminals.
Savage, Larry.
Well, I might be a little bit based.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit based, and you're not even at full strength yet, Larry.
Well, just a little bit based. I love your show, man.
Hey, man, we love you back. I appreciate the call, as always. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. The police department in D.C., now being federalized, has instated a curfew in the Navy Yard area for the juveniles. It began on August 10th. It's going through the 13th currently, and it's a citywide curfew. Takes effect at 11 o'clock. You got to be inside. It begins at 8 o'clock, and then they really ramp up pressure outside of that zone at 11 o'clock. So the juvenile curfew, 8 to 11, citywide curfew, 11 to 6 a.m. They're not messing around, and I think that this is a good thing. Leftists will be mad. Some leftists are even ramping it up a bit more. Maxine Waters, she found a microphone yesterday, and she said that Donald Trump is going to start a civil war with this. Yep. You heard me right. Maxine Waters, once again, ramping up the rhetoric. This is the same woman who said, if you see Republicans out, I want you to confront them. Make a scene. Make them uncomfortable. That Maxine Waters. She's at it again. This is her latest hit.
Nothing. Actions mean everything.
Actions mean everything. What kind of actions are you advocating for?
Words mean nothing. Actions mean everything. Watch this. Watch it very closely. Ask a lot of questions. Focus those cameras on everything that's going on, because this president is trying to lead us into what could be called a civil war.
Yeah, this president is. It's funny, though, how she's ranting against what Donald Trump is doing in D.C. while she's in D.C. And again, if you listen to the audio going on behind her, I don't know, does that make you feel like you're in a safe place, all those sirens? Like she's talking about all the evil stuff that Donald Trump is doing, saying, your words mean nothing, actions mean everything. And you could make the argument that she's trying to incite her base to commit acts of violence. You could make that argument. But while she's speaking out against Donald Trump, the sirens are blaring behind her, and they almost drown her out. And I would say, ma'am, they're not going to an ice cream social. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not going, it's not a parade, right? There was no parades in D.C. Was there a parade in D.C. yesterday?
Not that I know of.
No. So I would assume they're going to deal with crime. And this is in the middle of the day in D.C.
Words mean nothing. Actions mean everything.
A lot of sirens.
Watch this. Watch it very closely. Ask a lot of questions. Focus those cameras on everything that's going on, because this president is trying to lead us into what could be called a civil war.
Oh, yeah. It's Trump. Trump is trying to do that. Trump. Orange man bad. Can't believe he has the audacity to want to clean up crime in the nation's capital. So evil. He can't keep getting away with it, and we all need to stand up and voice our displeasure with the orange man. That's what Maxine Waters wants you to do. It's obviously a crock of you-know-what, but that's where we're at. In the meantime, there are a lot of developments in D.C., and hopefully one day soon we'll hear those sirens as they're rolling up to Adam Schiff's house to hold him accountable for what he's been doing. A lot of news coming out on Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff intentionally leaking classified documents with the aim to hurt Donald Trump. This story is breaking, and I do believe this is one of the reasons why we saw the preemptive pardon for one Adam Schiff. We're going to talk about this story when we get back. It's a big one. Plus, we'll talk about the developments with Big Tish James. Big Tish, you may know her as Letitia. Around here on the Chris Hand Show, we call her Big Tish. BT. What up, BT? She's got some issues on the way, too. The Trump administration is not playing. The DOJ is looking into every nook and cranny. Gets a little messy with Big Tish. Gets a little messy, but they're looking into it. We'll bring you the latest updates on the way. Hang out with us. It's 1021. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Glock Store. If you're looking for the best, look no further than the Glock Store. Whether you need to buy a firearm or train, they got it all there, right minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. You hear it all the time. But do you want your Glock to shoot flatter with less recoil? Well, you need to check out the C-Cuts at the Glock Store. C-Cuts is short for compensator cuts. These are precision slots in your barrel and slide that push the blast upward, cutting muzzle flip and letting you get back on target fast. These used to be only on the high-end Gen 3 compensated Glocks, but now the Glock Store can do it for your Glock in 10 days or less. Now, don't take my word for it. Get down to the Glock Store and try it before you buy it. For just $6.99, you can shoot a C-Cut Glock 17, 19, or my favorite, the 43X. Bring your Glock or just the barrel and slide and start those 10 days today. That's only at the Glock Store, which is minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, and always open online, glockstore.com. So Trump announced today he's federalizing D.C. police to put an end to violent crime in Washington, D.C. Naturally, leftists are losing their mind and completely unhinged.
We believe there is a better way to protect us all. One that respects rights to build trust and keep our communities truly safe, and that is fascism-free.
Free of what?
That is fascism-free.
Fascism-free? Fascism-free. Oh, okay, hang on one second. Hey, Brooks, come here. F-A-S-C-I-S-M.
Fascism?
Correct, fascism. I didn't mean to turn this into an ad for homeschooling versus public schooling, yet here we are.
Maybe she should have proofread that.
Still no answers about how a 6-year-old was shot to death last week. Police have arrested the boy's mother. And inflation rose last month. Why investors are cheering about that. We've got those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Joan Jones in the newsroom, absolutely crushing the headlines like she does every single morning for us. We get the best of both worlds. You know that, right? My name's Chris Hand, by the way. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems. You get those, betterwater.com. Mason Fleming producing. We're the only show. We're the only show on the entire station that gets not just Joan Jones, but also Ken Weaver. It's an embarrassment of riches, if
It's
I'm being
great.
perfectly honest with you.
I mean, we are lucky.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hey, fun fact. Did you see Murphy walking around here?
No, I didn't.
Dude, you guys got to watch the Murphy show today on the YouTube stream.
What's going on today?
I don't know. He just looks very handsome. He's like all dressed up.
All dapper.
He looks great. I said, do you want to come in and debut the outfit on my show? And he goes, no.
Can't do that.
He's I'm going to save the views for 3 o'clock. All right, fair enough. He said, I might not even do a cross with Chad. I don't want to spoil the outfit.
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh.
I know.
3 o'clock's about to be good.
It looks
Just
sharp.
saying.
It looks sharp. I'm just letting you know. I don't have any idea what he's going to talk about, but it's going to look good doing it. Guaranteed. We got. Sorry. I don't know.
Keep
why.
hyping him up. Maybe he will come in.
Sometimes if you say his name too many times, he does
appears.
appear. If you say, just for you guys, if you shut your lights off in the bathroom at night and you say Matt Murphy's name 3 times in the mirror and you flip it on, he's just behind you ranting about how the Libertarian Party doesn't want him. As I swear, it works every time.
Yeah, I had a weird Thursday night the other night. It's like, okay, I wanted to see if it worked, but Matt, go home.
Yeah, you got to leave. You remember doing that as a kid? Like, oh, shut the lights off and say Bloody Mary 3 times. And it's like, oh, gosh, I get to 2 and I'd be so panicked. That's it.
My brothers would be bolting out of the room.
You
It's
got
like,
to
no!
run. No, don't do it. Don't do it. I should got to teach the kids that.
You should.
Hey, we got it. It's Americana. It's Americana.
Yeah, you got to tell them of stories first and then be like, oh, we could try it.
Yep. All right, so we teased Adam Schiff. Shifty Schiff. Maybe you've heard of him. Shifty Schiff. Did he tell his staff to leak classified information? Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Just the News has the story. A career intelligence officer who worked for the Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee for more than a decade repeatedly warned the FBI beginning in 2017 that then Rep. Adam Schiff had approved leaking classified information to smear then President Donald Trump over the now debunked Russiagate scandal, according to bombshell FBI memos that Director Kash Patel has turned over to Congress. The FBI 302 interview reports obtained by Just the News state that the intelligence staffer, a Democrat by party affiliation, who described himself as both a friend to Schiff, now a California senator, and former Republican House Intelligence Chairman Devin Nunes, considered the classified leaking to be unethical, illegal, and treasonous, but was told not to worry about it because Schiff believed he would be spared prosecution under the Constitution's speech and debate clause. No publicly disclosed opinion from the Attorney General or the Solicitor General can be found, making that determination as a matter of law. But officials told Just the News that the DOJ officials showed little interest in pursuing Schiff when those allegations were brought to them years ago, citing the very same excuse the lawmaker had offered. In his most recent interview with the Bureau in 2023, the whistleblower, whose name is redacted, told agents from the FBI's St. Louis office that he personally attended a meeting at which Schiff authorized leaking classified information. Oh, now the preemptive pardon's making a little bit more sense, is it not? Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. Schiff has got to be shaking nervous. They said when working in this capacity, a redacted staffer's name was called to an all-staff meeting by Schiff, the interview report said. In this meeting, Schiff stated the group would leak classified information, which was derogatory to the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Schiff stated the information would be used to indict President Trump. The whistleblower told investigators that he stated this would be illegal, and upon hearing his concerns, unnamed members of the meeting reassured him that they would not be caught leaking classified information, the report stated. The staffer made similar claims to agents in the FBI's Washington field office as early as 2017, shortly after Trump took office for his first term. If you want to read the entire report, I'm going to tweet it out so you can find it very easily. Just search for @ChrisHandOnAir on Twitter. And while you're on social media, you can find me on a myriad of platforms. I'm on Twitter. I'm on True Social, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. All of them are the same. Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. And check out the new reel I did on Instagram with my youngest son. We had a bit of an impromptu spelling bee. It's awesome. Hit like, hit subscribe, all the things. 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A Nashville woman has been arrested amid the investigation into the death of her 6-year-old son. Police say Cyprian Argueta Romero told police she didn't know how her son was shot while she was doing yard work in Paragon Mills on Friday. News 2's Megan Fee.
Metro Police say they took the parents' vehicle into custody after the boy was dropped off at the hospital. And inside that vehicle, they found a loaded gun and nearly 7 grams of methamphetamine. Police also say Argueta admitted to detectives that she recently took meth.
Metro Police say that gun was stolen, and conflicting information says that the shooting may not even have taken place in Davidson County. The former recorder of records for the city of Minor Hill in Giles County has been charged with theft. Ashley Stogner has been indicted for stealing more than $100,000. Police say she forged the mayor's signature more than 300 times. News that a Williamson County school is being sued over a biological boy being allowed to attend a girls-only sex ed class. Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson on the Dan Mandas Show.
I think that they were legally bound to prevent that biological boy from being in that class with biological girls, talking about things that are very sensitive in terms of sex education, family life, and that type of thing.
Reports say 13 girls opted out of the second day of that class. Inflation rose less than expected in July.
The consensus was for a 0.2% month-to-month rise in the Consumer Price Index and a 2.8% surge from July of last year. The actual number has come in very close to that, with the cost of housing driving most of the increase. The cost of eating at home actually fell slightly from June to July.
ABC's Jim Ryan, the Dow Jones up more than 400 points. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Sorry, my wife just texted me about my daughter. She's like, can she go to a middle school dance? And I was like, no. And then she said, it's going to be fine. I said, no slow dancing. No slow dancing.
At least enough space for Jesus.
I'm like, yeah, leave enough space. Leave enough space for Jesus, please. This is what I deal with during commercial breaks. She like sneaks this stuff in when I'm not paying attention. She's like waiting for me to just be like, yeah, no problem. I'm like, oh, gosh. Come on. I don't want anything to do with that.
Wait a second.
Only if I can chaperone. Only if I can chaperone. Hey, it's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It is back to school time. The dances are popping up. I mean, you want it to be cold in there, but not too cold where they got to get in and, cozy up and keep each other warm. I don't want that. But that's the kind of ACs you're going to get from Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It's going to be cold in your house. Now, they got some great giveaways with back to school being on the menu. Now's the time to act. 15% off septic work, main drain lines, or whole home repipes. If you buy a new HVAC system, you're entered to win the Healthy Hive giveaway, $1,500 sponsorship to the local school of your choice. If you join the Beehive Club this month, you get one to give to a teacher, faculty member, or coach at your local school. That's really going to grease the wheels for a good school year for your kid. It's only from Busy Bee. Buy one, gift one. It's that simple. Give them a call today, 615-775-7833. That's Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833. You can always find them online, busybeehvac.com.
Did you see this insanity?
You want me to go to jail? You want me to go to jail?
But I like this shit. All that pillow talking to the bitch, I don't like that shit. We don't keep siding on them niggas. Another way, you gon'
Just give me my money. By the way, the answer to this question?
You want me to go to jail? You want me to go to jail?
Yes, you should. The fact is, the more people get away with, the more they do. Send them to jail.
.1037 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You need a water filtration system. You need a water softener. Why would you need that?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
That's a reason. BetterWater.com. BetterWater.com. They'll test it for you for free, too. Ken Weaver's in the building. What's up, Ken?
What's going on, Brother Chris Hand and Brother Mason?
Got a question for you, Ken.
Yes, sir.
You got a daughter.
I do.
How'd you deal with middle school dances, bro?
Middle school dances. I dropped her off with her friends and went back home and then picked her up after it was over.
Would you be nervous the whole time?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
I don't like it.
I'm just saying. What I'm hearing is
well, now,
Ken
brother,
trusted his daughter.
I trust my daughter.
Yeah.
It's them
You know what?
boys.
You're right.
It's them boys I
You're
don't
right.
trust.
What am I saying? What am I saying?
I happen to be one of them boys.
Yes, sir. I started thinking that way right after I learned we were having a daughter.
Oh, no.
I all of a sudden realized I don't like boys.
I don't like them either. I don't like them one bit. I don't trust them. Well, my wife texted me. She said, hey, there's a middle school dance coming up. Can Kennedy go?
Oh, little Kennedy.
And I said, only if there's no slow dances and she's leaving enough room for Jesus. And I got that from Mason. And my wife said sold. So the dance has been she's been greenlit for the dance.
All right.
But I'm gonna try and find a way to keep an eye on the sky. Have you seen the little Chinese mosquito drones?
Yeah, you can get them in anywhere.
I'm gonna find one of those on eBay.
Wait a minute. I thought mosquitoes were drones.
They might be.
Yeah.
Birds for sure. Mosquitoes, not sure yet.
Now, Brother Chris, you could volunteer to be a chaperone or
I did. I threw that out there.
Yeah.
I threw that out there. I didn't get a lot of positive response from it. I didn't. Fun fact. So the kids, I'm crazy, and I'm like, hey.
Oh, really?
Birds aren't real. And I say it to my kids all the time, and they're like laughing. They went to D.C. last week, which is, I'm biting my nails all the time. I'm like, don't tell my wife what's going on in the headlines. Don't tell my wife what's going on in the headlines. Don't tell my like
Just
all
letting
week,
your kids walk
all
around
week.
yelling
I'm like,
liberal
oh
at people.
gosh. I'm like, this is gonna be fine. So anyway, they go to the Spy Museum, and I get this picture. They're like, Dad, look at this. And it's a dead bird that's been hollowed out with a camera put in it. And I was like, I told you.
Guys don't listen to me.
I'm like, you think that I just have the rantings of a lunatic, but there's some truth in there. Some truth in there.
That's funny.
I end up being right.
All right, you gonna let Kennedy pick out her outfit, man?
Heck no. I approve the dance, Ken.
She's going to be wearing a 3-piece suit.
Yes.
Going dressed as the Michelin Man to add extra padding to keep people away.
Listen. Nothing says great young lady like a Hillary Clinton pantsuit. I can get you any color you want, kid. Any color.
Any color you want, hon.
Yeah. So,
oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Man.
no, we'll keep you updated on the dance.
Absolutely. Little Kennedy, man.
Yeah, dude, she's growing up so fast. It's crazy, man.
The last time I think you had Kennedy in here, she still had that little girl voice.
Yep.
Is it gone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's been replaced with back talk. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. She's awesome. She's sweet. I just thought that was funny to say.
That's great.
She's great. All right, so enough about that. Enough about my personal drama and what's making my hair turn gray.
Makes sense.
Let me tell you about what's making Adam Schiff's hair turn gray. I think he probably dyes it. You think Adam Schiff dyes his hair?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely,
100%. 100%. Pam Bondi has authorized Ed Martin as special prosecutor over mortgage fraud probes against Adam Schiff and Letitia James. Big Tish, we like to call her. Big Tish. So Ed Martin is looking at what? Is it what?
I just wasn't expecting that at all.
Big Tish. Weighing in at 345 pounds. The beast from the east. Sorry. That's my wrestling announcer coming out. Anyway, Pam Bondi said, Ed Martin, I want you to look into this mortgage fraud on Big Tish and Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff. And I don't know. Maybe Adam Schiff is beginning to regret all those mean things that he said about Ed Martin back in the day when they were trying to get him confirmed on as a prosecutor. Adam Schiff, I mean, he took a steamy dump on this guy on MSNBC. You think he regrets saying this? Hang on. Well, here it is.
This is one of, if not the worst nominations Trump has made. And as you also said, it's a pretty low bar, but this guy clears it. And this particular U.S. Attorney's Office is very important. They all are, but this one handles not only federal crimes, but because it's in the District of Columbia, a lot of serious state crimes as well. So it's really double duty in that office. The last thing you want is someone who has no prosecutorial experience, and Martin has none. The last thing you want is someone whose only relevant experience is defending people who violently attacked the Capitol, who he believes should be restored whatever fines and restitution they paid and deserve reparations. That is, the perpetrators of that crime. Someone who dismissed a case against his own client, a plain ethical violation. Someone who has touted this Nazi sympathizer, this Hitler mustache-wearing sympathizer. This is a partial list, but the decision by Tom Tillis is significant. I put a hold on his nomination. Dick Durbin has called for a hearing in the Judiciary Committee. All of this has allowed us to get out more information to the committee and the public about how dangerous a nomination
is. A very dangerous nomination. You think when Adam Schiff got the news that the guy he said is supporting the Hitler mustache guy, do you think Adam Schiff went, crap? Because I probably would have. If I was talking a bunch of crap about a guy, like loads of crap, and then I find out that that's the guy who got tapped to investigate my mortgage fraud, I'd be like, well, bleep. And that's exactly what happened. Attorney General Pam Bondi has appointed Ed Martin, who Adam Schiff was just giving a glowing review for, as a special prosecutor to investigate Senator Adam Schiff and New York Attorney General Big Tish James over allegations of mortgage fraud. Senior law enforcement official told NBC News that a grand jury out of the Eastern District of Virginia will investigate these mortgage fraud allegations against James, while a Maryland grand jury will investigate the allegations against Schiff. Martin reportedly met with Bill Pulte, the Federal Housing Finance Agency director, on Friday morning. Pulte sent the criminal referral regarding Schiff to the Department of Justice in May. Pulte sent the referral on James, Big Tish, in April. In his referral, Pulte accused James of having falsified records to get a home loan in Virginia while she was still serving as the New York State AG. That criminal referral read in part, based on media reports, Miss Letitia James has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans in more favorable loan terms. This has potentially included, one, falsifying residence status for a Norfolk, Virginia-based home in order to secure a lower mortgage rate, and two, misrepresenting property descriptions to meet stringent requirements for government-backed loans and government assistance. Schiff was accused of altering bank documents and property records to secure more favorable loan terms, claiming that both his Burbank and Maryland homes were his primary residences. You can't have two primary residences. Director William Pulte wrote, based on media reports, Mr. Adam B. Schiff has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire a more favorable loan terms, impacting payments from 2003 to 2019 for a Potomac, Maryland-based property. This comes as the Department of Justice has also launched a grand jury investigation into Big Tish James over her office's civil fraud cases against Trump, his businesses, and the NRA, and whether those cases violate the defendant's legal rights. So Adam Schiff takes a steamy dump on this guy on MSNBC, and now that same guy, after he's cleaned himself off, now gets to investigate Adam Schiff. It's poetry, really, and I love it. I love every second of it. Adam Schiff has to be biting his nails over this. Big Tish James, on the other hand, grand jury probe coming for her over the Trump civil case, which is good. I mean, it was politically motivated. We all knew it. And Big Tish James, let I remind you, she campaigned on getting Donald Trump. That was one of her promises. And she famously once said,
That simple but fundamental pillar of our democracy, that the rule of law applies to all of us, equally, fairly, and justly. That's simple.
Yeah, she said that while looking in two different directions. But the grand jury is going to be investigating that civil case that she launched against Donald Trump. DOJ has launched that grand jury investigation into Letitia James, Big Tish, in connection with her civil case against Donald Trump, reports Fox News. James's office was served with subpoenas this week, demanding documents, including records tied to her civil fraud lawsuit against Donald Trump. The U.S. Attorney Office for the Northern District of New York is leading that probe, two of the sources told NBC News. Investigators are looking into whether or not James's office violated legal rights under the color of law in pursuing civil litigation. James previously won a civil fraud judgment against Donald Trump and his company after alleging he inflated his net worth and financial statements. The court ordered Trump and his organization to pay more than $300 million. This case is under appeal. This is the one where he got a loan, right? And then he paid the loan back, and there were no victims, but Big Tish went after Trump anyway because, well, orange man bad. So Big Tish has some issues. Adam Schiff has some issues. Big Tish James, her attorney, Abby Lowell, is really upset, and he says this is the weaponization of the Justice Department that we all feared, and we've never ever seen before. We've never seen weaponization of the Justice Department like this. This has only happened ever under one Donald Trump.
Back to this idea of doublespeak. The fact that these cases are now being brought, or that he appointed Ed Martin as a special attorney in his department. What's his department called? The Department of Weaponization.
Yeah.
The idea that this department, that is his idea to address the weaponization that he claims was in the past, is now turning into the nuclear bomb of weaponization in the future, is just another example of what I've just been saying as to how the manipulation of language makes your head spin.
Oh, yeah. My head's spinning all right. Didn't you guys say Mar-a-Lago was only worth like $18 million? Got it. Yeah, we've never seen weaponization like this before, ever. Jamie Raskin, renowned Democrat, is very upset that Ed Martin was also appointed. He took to CNN last night, and he wanted to yell and scream to anybody who would listen.
And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department?
Yeah, my head's spinning all right.
And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponizing the Justice Department? And do you see this as evidence that he is now weaponiz
Well, of course he is. He's on a political revenge tour. Look, in America, if you disagree with a prosecution or a civil lawsuit that's been brought against you, then you mount a defense against it. Donald Trump had high-priced lawyers working for a defense against the civil fraud suit, but he was found guilty and fined $450 million, a debt he owes that is now worth more than $500 million because he still hasn't paid it. I mean, we're talking about a Republican-controlled Senate that was willing to approve Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services, but they would not approve Ed Martin, this guy who is an election denier. He participated and helped to organize the events on January 6th, and he's been a J6 lawyer, and now he's just going after Donald Trump's enemies, and he's...
I mean, Jamie Raskin doesn't have to sell me on the guy. I'm already excited. I'm already here for it. You don't have to sell me on him, right?
Also somebody who has defended a neo-Nazi and called him a great guy and an extraordinary man and so on.
Yeah, give me a source on that. I appreciate it. Neo-Nazi. They call everybody's a neo-Nazi. Everybody's a neo-Nazi. Got it. Ed Martin, obviously ruffling all the right feathers. When you see the lawyer for Big Tish getting upset, when you see Adam Schiff biting his nails, when you see Jamie Raskin hopping on CNN to say, how could this happen? Just remember, no one's above the law. It's 10:52. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at United Structural Systems. Did you look at the forecast in the coming days? We got some rain. We got some rain headed back to the area. And if you got waterproofing issues at your home, you know what that means. Gonna have water coming into your property. That crawl space, that basement, oh my gosh, I thought it was done. You thought the problem would go away, but it doesn't. Every time the rain comes back, so does the waterproofing. And if you leave that problem unfixed, it's only gonna get worse. It's not gonna get better by itself. It's only going to get better with some experts from United Structural Systems. If you ignore it, you keep ignoring it, it's going to lead to mold in your crawl space. It's going to lead to wood rot. It's going to lead to foundation issues. Don't ignore it anymore. Call the best. Call USS. Call the company that's helped 30,000 homeowners across Middle Tennessee with these kind of waterproofing issues. Call the guys that have been in the game for 30 years, the guys that are going to leave behind a warranty that's good for life, the experts that always guarantee their best, United Structural Systems. Give them a call today. If you see the signs, don't wait. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, or find them online, USSTN.com. Here's a rabbit hole for your weekend. The Labubu dolls are demonic. Now, this comes from Reddit, which obviously it's
reliable as all get out.
Huge news source. It said, Labubu is the creation of a famous artist from Hong Kong who received inspiration from Norse mythology.
Ooh.
And his loves for elves and stranger animals for his 3 Nordic fairy tale picture books, Where Live the Monsters, which are both good and evil. The most famous one is Labubu.
Labubu!
A small monster with high pointed ears and serrated teeth. What do they look like? Has anybody seen a picture of these things?
I've never even seen a picture.
They're a little creepy.
Oh,
looking.
yeah, dude, they are creepy. Oh, they do look demonic. Here, put it on the screen. Put it on the stream. Put it on the stream. This is for all y'all at YouTube. That definitely looks like a fuzzy little devil.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A Nashville woman arrested after the death of her 6-year-old. This story and more at 11 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch us, especially our favorites, YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, and join the chat. 615-737-9986 is the phone number and the text line. So I just came across this clip. I mentioned earlier, Mayor Bowser, Muriel Bowser, very upset. Very upset. She can't do anything with Donald Trump federalizing D.C. police. And she's got to bend the knee. She talked to her lawyers, and her lawyers are telling her she has no grounds to challenge the president's federalization of the police due to the declared crime emergency. But we're just now getting some comments from Mayor Muriel Bowser. I love it. Now, this started with a reporter asking the D.C. police chief, Pamela Smith, what the chain of command now is.
What the chain of command is now? What does that mean? Well,
what does that mean? What does the chain of command mean? Now, listen, I'm not going to say that the D.C. police chief, Pamela Smith, is a DEI hire. But what I am going to tell you is that she previously served as the police department's chief equity officer. So do with that information what you will. She couldn't answer a question about chain of command. This is the D.C. police chief.
Wow.
She couldn't answer it. So then Mayor Bowser had to step in.
What the chain of command is now? What does that mean? Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor, speaking to you, or how does this work?
So the executive order is clear. The president has requested MPD services, and our home rule charter outlines the process. The president designated Attorney General Bondi as his proxy to request services through me.
Oh, yeah. All these flavors, Mayor Bowser choosing salty today. She looks pretty upset. She looks pretty upset. I don't blame her. Hey, you screwed up. You still have your job, but none of the power that goes with it. Awesome. It's 11 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Some of us are going to see some rain today. Some of us are already seeing some rain today. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. A Nashville woman has been arrested amid the investigation into the death of her 6-year-old son. Police say Cyprian Argueta Romero told police she did not know her son was shot while she was doing yard work in Paragon Mills. News 2's Megan Fee.
Metro Police say they took the parent's vehicle into custody after the boy was dropped off at the hospital. And inside that vehicle, they found a loaded gun and nearly 7 grams of methamphetamine. Police also say Argueta admitted to detectives that she recently took meth.
Metro Police say conflicting information on the shooting says conflicting information, says the shooting may not have taken place in Davidson County. And authorities giving more details about the suspected shooter who opened fire, killing a police officer at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention last week near Emory University.
Over 500 shell casings have been recovered from the crime scene area. A total of 5 firearms along with other evidence has been recovered from the scene and will be submitted for further forensic testing. Close to 200 rounds impacted 6 of the CDC buildings.
Suspect may have been suffering from mental health issues. Police say authorities were called to his family's home weeks before the shooting. Authorities saying the steel plant outside of Pittsburgh where an explosion occurred is stable this morning. Limited production moving forward today. 2 workers killed in that incident. And right now in the Lone Star State, the Texas House has failed for the 5th time to gavel into session as dozens of Democrats remain out of the state to try to stop a vote on a Republican-drawn congressional map that favors Republican candidates. It's called redistricting, and it is something both parties do. Tropical storm Erin gaining strength out in the Atlantic and could become the Atlantic's first hurricane of Atlantic season. Here's Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z.
Watching Tropical Storm Erin, and that's the one that's way out there in the Atlantic. We've got time, but I just want everyone to pay close attention because as we see this track, should become a major hurricane north and east of the Caribbean. But each little deviation west or east is going to make a big difference.
Storm still too far away for any reliable forecast about whether it could impact the U.S. mainland. And price pressures across a wide range of products pushing up a key indicator of inflation. The CPI this morning shows inflation hitting 2.7% compared to last year. And a piece of Mars, the subject of controversy. Here's Rhiannon Alley.
The largest piece of Mars ever found here on Earth is now the subject of an investigation. Officials in West Africa, where it was found, are looking into the possibility it may have been smuggled. It was sold for $5 million at a New York auction last month, but Sotheby's insists it followed all legal procedures.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. We love you guys listening. You can watch us as well. We're on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like and subscribe. Why would you want to watch a radio show on TV? Well, we'll have video elements for all the audio that you hear. And we're also putting bonus content in the commercial breaks as well. So you get even more Super Talk on the YouTube and Rumble stream. Shout out to Mason.
Yeah, just little snippets for you guys to enjoy.
And I just also want to thank this audience from the bottom of my heart. Nervous. I'm a nervous dad. I get this text. And she texts, of course the wife texts me while I'm on the air. She says, "Can Kennedy go to a middle school dance?" That's my oldest daughter. My initial reaction is like, no. No.
Nuh-uh.
And then Mason had the brilliant idea, said no slow dances, leave enough room for Jesus, and then give it a confirmation.
That's what I was told growing up.
And I said, perfect. And so we got confirmation there will be room for Jesus, no slow dances.
Works.
I'm fine with that. And I just want to thank this audience for making me feel even better. I'm getting texts in there. 4417 said, don't worry. Most of the boys won't go to the dance. True. Thank you. You're bringing me back to earth. Then 6758 texted in and said, middle school kids these days don't take a date to the dance. It's just an opportunity for fancy selfies with their friends. Okay. That we should just label it a fancy selfie event. I would feel a lot more calm about it.
I'm here for that.
Instead of a dance. It's just
Who's really dancing there?
It's just an evening of fancy selfies.
It's all cool.
That
all good.
I'm fine with that. Thank you to this audience for calming me down. I appreciate it. All right, so we were talking about D.C. crime. Mayor Muriel Bowser is out there with the police chief. They said, what's the chain of command? She goes, what do you mean? What does that mean? It's a terrible answer. It's terrible. You should absolutely know what the chain of command is. You are the police chief, formerly the chief equity officer. I'm not going to say she was a DEI hire, but you know. So the big conversation today has been the federalization of the D.C. police force. Joe Scarborough had Simone Sanders on his show this morning, and he asked her the question, won't more police make you feel safe? And I think that's a good question, because you would think that the answer is, well, yeah, more police will make you feel safe.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
No, Joe. I'm a black woman in America.
Oh, okay. Got it. Thanks. Got it. Apparently, if you're a black woman in America, more police in the streets does not make you safe.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
No, Joe. I'm a black woman in America. I do not always think that more police make streets safer. When you walk down the streets of Georgetown, you don't see a police officer on every corner, but you don't feel unsafe. So what is it about talking about places like Southeast D.C., right? Ward 8, if you will, that people say, well, we need more officers to make us safe. I think we have to rethink what safety means in America.
Yeah. In some of these neighborhoods, sure, you get shot, but that doesn't mean you're not safe. Sure. There's the occasional carjacking of members of Congress, but does that really mean you're not safe? Did they die though? You know, I mean, these are questions that we have to ask. These are, I don't really know what to say to this. I will say this: our own Congressman Tim Burchett was on CNN, and he hit the nail on the head. When it comes to safety in these big cities, like, yeah, we can send police in there. We can do all this and that. But you need a heart change in this nation. And there's only one way to do that.
Look, let's be honest in this country. All the race baiters on both sides. It's just like overseas in these wars and everything else. If we have peace, they are out of power. They are in business to stir it up, both sides, left and right. And that's on me, and that's on you all at CNN as well. Because, I mean, look what's happening in Cincinnati right now. These people got the heck kicked out of them, could have died right there, and now some folks are hollering at these folks that got beat up that it was their own fault. It's their business to stay in power. If we have peace, if we start listening to the Bible and going to church on Sunday and holding our brothers' hands and talking to them about this stuff's over, but they don't want it over. They want to stay in power, and they continue preaching this hate on both sides. We gotta cut that stuff out, man. We got too many big fish to fry. And in this world, look at the Middle East, look at Ukraine, all that. If peace breaks out, Putin and Zelensky are out of power. Look what happened to Winston Churchill. Carried England. He saved the world, literally. And then right after, they kicked him out. It's just a game with these folks, and it's a moneymaker, and it keeps them in power. And it's a shame because the poor people get used and abused, and it's wrong.
My big takeaway from that is when he says, if you just start reading the Bible, if you start holding your brother's hand, if we have a heart change in this country, then you're going to see peace break out. And then you'll see a lot of these losers in power not be able to hold on to that power any longer. We do have a president in office who is focused on peace, and we've been seeing that play out in real time. Friday, we have the meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Maybe you've heard of him. That's going to be taking place in Alaska. No Zelensky. But Donald Trump said yesterday, He's going to know within minutes whether or not he can make a deal with Putin. And he's probably got a game plan, and he's probably got a good deal on the table. Granted, it's not going to be a deal that makes either side happy. That's the sign of a great deal. But Trump said, I'll know within 2 minutes if he wants peace.
Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made. How will you know that? Because that's what I do. I make deals.
Now, if you're watching on the YouTube stream, you'll see the biggest Pete Hegseth smile behind Donald Trump that you've ever seen. I don't think even Hegseth has ever smiled this big, but it's huge smile from Hegseth. He said, I'll know within 2 minutes. It's because of what I do. I make deals. The Democrats don't want Donald Trump to make a deal. Senator Mark Kelly out of Arizona is big mad over the fact that there's going to be a meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, because obviously Putin is the evilest guy to ever walk the face of the earth. So how could you even have a conversation with him? And it's like you're missing the mark. Nobody's saying that Putin's a good guy, but you do have to have conversations with these individuals to make peace. Senator Mark Kelly has no idea about that.
And I've got to say, I know you talked to Mark Ruta earlier in the Ambassador about the visit on Friday in Alaska. And Margaret, I hope we got something out of this. Putin is a war criminal. This is not a show of strength to allow him to fly into the United States, to land here to negotiate with our president.
I mean, I completely disagree with that. He's flying onto a piece of land that was formerly Russian territory. He's going to be on Donald Trump's turf, and Donald Trump called the meeting. What do you mean? This is absolutely big time. Mark Kelly disagrees.
I don't know for certain. I don't know what was the ground rules that were set for this negotiation, but I would expect that this administration should have extracted something for this visit.
Oh, yeah, Mark Kelly. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the conversation was, but I will tell you, Orange Man bad. Putin bad. Clearly, this is wrong. I'm not privy to any of the details, but I'll tell you, this is bad. Okay, that's how the Democrats are reacting. Let's hear a more reasonable take. This was from J.D. Vance over the weekend on the meeting between Vladimir Putin and Donald J. Trump, saying this is a huge breakthrough for American diplomacy. Guys like Mark Kelly, they can be mad, they can be salty, but this is how you get to peace. You get there through conversation.
I've got to give the president a huge amount of credit here, Maria, because this is a major breakthrough for American diplomacy. If you go back, this war's been going on for over 3 years at this point, well over 1 million Russians and Ukrainian dead soldiers. And as the president says, the numbers are probably much higher than the official tally indicates. Yep. There has been no substantial breakthrough. And for 6 months, the president himself, he's asked me, he's asked Secretary Rubio, of course, Steve Witkoff. We have been aggressively working, trying to break the logjam. One of the most important logjams is that Vladimir Putin said that he would never sit down with Zelensky, the head of Ukraine, and the president has now got that to change. We're at a point now where we're now trying to figure out, frankly, scheduling and things like that around when these three leaders could sit down and discuss an end to this conflict. Now, what do I think is ultimately going to come out of this? Look, it's actually very simple. If you take where the current line of contact between Russia and Ukraine is, we're going to try to find some negotiated settlement that the Ukrainians and the Russians can live with, where they can live in relative peace, where the killing stops. It's not going to make anybody super happy. Both the Russians and the Ukrainians probably at the end of the day are going to be unhappy with it. But I don't think you can actually sit down and have this negotiation absent the leadership of Donald J. Trump.
Facts. And I love how he says, at the end of the day, when the deal gets done, and I do think that we have a strong possibility of a deal, but when the deal gets done, a good deal isn't going to have the Ukrainians happy, and it's not going to have the Russians happy. That's the earmark of a great deal. Nobody's happy. Democrats, obviously irate. Democrats have no idea why Donald Trump would do something like this. Oh, you're giving this dictator a huge win. It's like, no, he's not. In fact, even the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, is praising Donald Trump for this move that he's made to get Putin to come to Alaska and enter into these talks. It really can't be undersold. The Democrats were in power. They couldn't do anything to stop the conflict, and they couldn't do anything to end the conflict. Donald Trump is already at 7 peace deals in 7 months. Are we going to have 8 for 8? I think the possibility is there. Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, on President Trump breaking the deadlock.
And I think it is very good that President Trump will test him, and we'll see how far he can get on Friday, starting this process. He basically broke the deadlock, President Trump, in February, starting the dialogue with Putin. I think that was crucial. We had a great NATO summit under his leadership, committing to 5% defense spending, so that is a clear signal to our main threat, which is Russia, that we are serious. And then he opened the floodgates 3 weeks ago of American lethal weapons to be delivered into Ukraine, coordinated by NATO. And of course, the secondary sanctions. He started them with putting them on India, which is one of the biggest buyers of Russian oil and gas.
I mean, even NATO singing Donald Trump's praises, the Democrats won't give him any credit. Yet the American people understand we don't want nothing to do with this war. J.D. Vance was talking about it over the weekend as well. And he said, guys, we condemn the invasion. Americans are sick of continuing to send their money there. And things are changing. If the Europeans want to step up after these negotiations and continue this war, it's going to be on them. We'll sell them the weapons, but we're not going to foot the bill any longer. And I think that that's absolutely changing some of the calculus in some of these negotiations.
To your point about weapons, what we said to the Europeans is simply, first of all, this is in your neck of the woods. This is in your back door. You guys have got to step up and take a bigger role in this thing. And if you care so much about this conflict, you should be willing to play a more direct and a more substantial way in funding this war yourself. I think the president, and I certainly think that America, we're done with the funding of the Ukraine war business. We want to bring about a peaceful settlement to this thing. Yep. We want to stop the killing. But Americans, I think, are sick of continuing to send their money, their tax dollars to this particular conflict. But if the Europeans want to step up and actually buy the weapons from American producers, we're okay with that, but we're not going to fund it ourselves anymore.
I love that. We're not going to foot the bill. We're not. Americans are sick of it. Fun fact, Ukrainians are also sick of this war. Support for this war in Ukraine has completely collapsed. In 2022, support in Ukraine for the war was over 70% to fight and win. Today, that support has plummeted to just 24%. Whoa. 69% of Ukrainians say negotiate peace ASAP. Negotiate peace. Well, Donald Trump is your guy to do it. 100%. What's going to happen in these talks on Friday? I mean, nobody really knows for sure. Scott Jennings was talking about it on CNN, and I love Scott's take. He goes, let's be honest, walking in with low expectations, but if anybody can do it, if anybody can bring this conflict to a resolution, if anybody can stop the killing, there's one guy, 45, 47, it's DJT.
Scott, I want to start first with you. Do you think that meeting with Putin in Alaska, and at this point, at this moment in time, although they say the door is open, but Zelensky not planning on being there at this moment, do you think that setup is correct?
Well, something has to happen here because the only way this war is going to end is through a negotiated peace settlement. And somebody has to bring these two guys to the table. And so President Trump meeting with Putin, maybe it's the first thing that happens, and then maybe they get both of them together shortly thereafter. But somebody has to take the first step. So I pray for the end of this war. I think the killing, everybody wants the killing to stop. And somebody, President Trump, has been trying to bring that about. I have low expectations for Putin, frankly, because he's obviously strung the president along, and he probably is beginning this negotiation with unreasonable demands. But I have high hopes for what President Trump can do. He's already negotiated the end to like 7 conflicts this year already, and he clearly has peace on his mind. So I'm going to give the president some latitude here to deal with Putin and try to bring these two parties together eventually to bring an end to this war. Even though I think Putin here is a bad actor, frankly, and is prone to, trying to drag this out and be unreasonable, at least at the outset.
Reasonable take. The most reasonable take. Keep your expectations low, keep your hopes high, and pray for peace. If anybody can do it, it's going to be Donald Trump. We got a lot more on the way. Anything you want to talk about, 615-737-9986. Make sure that you're listening to us on iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial, or if you're watching us over on YouTube or Rumble, that you hit like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys helping us grow that digital footprint of the radio station. 1122, this is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Brink Fiddler over at Defense Systems. I've gone through the training with Defense Systems, and I got to tell you, after going through that training, I didn't realize how vital it was. It's incredible. You learn real-life skills when you go through this training with Defense Systems that could literally save someone's life. I learned how to stop bleeding, help somebody who's been shot. You can use these skills. I hope you never have to, and I hope I never have to. But if I do, I'm grateful to have learned them, and I learned them from Defense Systems. Defense Systems is a life safety and security consulting firm, and they specialize in physical security and active violence mitigation training. They've trained everyone from schools to corporations to healthcare facilities, law firms, manufacturing plants, even country music tours. And they trained our staff here at Cumulus Nashville. Cumulus brought them in to train our team, and it was eye-opening. This is not just checking the box for safety. It's giving you and your employees life skills that they can use anywhere, even outside of work. They've trained over 30 Middle Tennessee schools. Has your child's school had this training? Because active violence and events are on the rise, and sometimes the danger spills into everyday places. If you want this training for your workplace, your kid's school, don't wait until it's too late. Visit defensesystems.com or give them a call today, 615-236-6484. That's 615-236-6484. This training and this call could save a life.
This is massive. This is Armenia and Azerbaijan. This is nearly 4 decades of fighting in the region. Both leaders of each nation are coming here to the White House.
For more than 35 years, Armenia and Azerbaijan have fought a bitter conflict that resulted in tremendous suffering for both nations. They suffered gravely for so many years. Many tried to find a resolution, including the European Union. The Russians worked very hard on it, never happened. Sleepy Joe Biden tried, but you know what happened there? He tried for probably 12 minutes and didn't work out.
Have you seen this done with any other president, the way he's leveraging the economy and trade?
Absolutely not. I mean, this is 7 peace deals in 7 months, and it's unbelievable. I mean, President Trump is the only guy who can come together and do it. He can do it right.
A leading Tennessee lawmaker weighs in after a lawsuit claims a biological boy who identifies as a girl was allowed in a required girls-only sex education class. Coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Not a fan. I'm just going to go on the record now.
Not a fan of that.
Not a fan. Not a fan. Making the case for homeschooling every day. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. Hey, real quick, the distinguished gentleman from Lebanon, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
Our friend Calvin is on the line. What's up, Calvin?
Hey, Chris.
What you got,
I
man?
wanted to let you know that I talked to a landscaper come by our house 2 Sundays ago, and we had like a 25-minute conversation. He said the Tennessee immigration is sending out papers to landscapers, and he mentioned a big company that we used last year, but the guy quit mowing lawns and went to full landscape services. And I said, we used to use them last year. He said, I bet it wasn't nothing but Latinos that come to your house. And I said, yeah, and they done a heck of a good job.
Yeah.
He said, well, he just got a letter from the Tennessee immigration to prove papers on all his workers. And he had X amount of time to do it. And he knows a guy in Nashville that owns a construction company that works basically all Latino, got the same letter. And he said he can't even get his workers to go out on the job sites for fear of ICE. Ooh. And he said the bad thing is he said, I work just myself. He said, if I go to hire someone in this landscape business, he said, if you're legal, he said, they're all busy and got their own clients. He said, I can't find anybody. He said, if I wanted to expand, he said, I'd be looking for Latino too. He said, you can't find anybody that wants to do this work. But immigration is sending out letters here in Tennessee.
I mean, listen, I love the fact that we're demagnetizing the state. I feel bad that it puts them in a tough spot, but it's going to be equal across the board. If they're sending those letters to everybody, then everybody's going to deal with those issues. We're going to have to raise some wages and get some people in there. But it doesn't seem like this problem is going to affect just him uniquely. It's going to be across the board, the demagnetization process.
That's right.
Yeah, well, Calvin,
all righty, brother.
Hey, man, I appreciate the update. As always, everything good with you? You been happy?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I ain't got a lot to call in about anymore except happy things, you know?
Yes, I love it. I love it. Calvin was one of the guys during Biden. He let us know every couple of days how angry he was. It's you're not as angry lately.
It didn't take much to hit a nerve in them years.
No, it did not. That is for sure. Calvin, I appreciate the call as always. If you want to join the show, 615-737-9986. You can also jump in the chat on the YouTube channel. Just search for 99.7 WTN. We have the most red-pilled chat, the most based chat. Hit like, hit subscribe, all the things. It's 11:30 on Super Talk. Time for the headlines with the distinguished Ken Weaver.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got some dark clouds out there, dumping some rain on parts of downtown Nashville. We'll tell you where it's going to rain next, or if it rains next. Full forecast in 5 minutes. News that a Williamson County school is being sued over a biological boy being allowed to attend a required girls-only sex ed class. Now, Majority Leader of the Tennessee State Senate, Jack Johnson, says the school may have violated state law.
When we reconvene our legislative session in January, we'll take a look at this. And if we need to tighten up the statute relative to this specific type of instance, we will certainly do so.
Yeah, reports say 13 girls opted out of that second day of the class because they were uncomfortable talking about personal issues with a boy in the classroom. Authorities in Atlanta releasing more details about the suspected shooter who opened fire, killing a police officer at the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention last week near Emory University.
Preliminary information from DeKalb County Medical Examiner's Office indicates that Officer David Rose's injuries were caused by one of the shooter's weapons. The shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Suspect may have been suffering from mental health issues, according to police, who say authorities were called to his family's home weeks before the shooting. Companies, some of them, raising their prices in response to President Trump's tariffs appear to be driving up inflation. ABC's Jim Ryan has a look at the Consumer Price Index for July.
Compared to a year ago, inflation was up 2.7% last month, but strip out food and energy costs, and the increase was 3.1% year over year. One item pushing up core inflation is airfares, which surged 4% in July after several months in decline.
Inside jobs involving stolen mail at the U.S. Post Office. Here's ABC's Lionel Moise.
Internal mail theft inside the Postal Service surged after the pandemic, with cases up 47%. One official recently quoted saying criminal organizations are recruiting people to get a job in the Postal Service so they can rob mail and drain bank accounts. A government report last year found the Postal Service not doing enough to prevent theft, citing a shortage of supervisors, a lack of training, and unanswered questions about the monitoring of surveillance cameras.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand for my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. Now, do you think that you have to wait for open enrollment to get cheaper, better health insurance? Spoiler alert, you're wrong. That's just what the big guys want you to believe. With Cover Nash, you can get covered or switch right now with no waiting and no gimmicks. If you missed open enrollment, Cover Nash has you covered. You lost job coverage, Cover Nash has you covered. If you're sick of overpriced junk insurance, you guessed it, Cover Nash has you covered. Cover Nash partners with over 75 top-rated insurance companies, including brand new nationwide PPO options with deductibles as low as $250, flat $50 doctor visits, even for specialists, ACA-compliant plans with free preventative care like physicals, colonoscopies, the works, plans for individuals, families, self-employed folks, or even small businesses. It's time to stop overpaying. It's time to stop waiting. It's time to stop thinking that you're stuck. Go to covernash.com or pick up the phone and call Shane Ring today. 615-465-0023. That's the number for Cover Nash, 615-465-0023. Get some health insurance on your terms, not the government's. Covernash.com. It's 11:37. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Mason Fleming producing. Ken Weaver in the newsroom. You guys on the phone lines and in the YouTube chat, 615-737-9986. We love you guys. Hit like, hit subscribe, all the things. Did I do all the things? I think that's all the things.
I think that's all the things.
That's all I'm going to do anyway. Got a text from Scott Sapicki during the break.
Oh, yeah?
I like sending him responses that I'm not sure he understands. So he sent me a text. He said, I'm working on a bill to require E-Verify for everyone in Tennessee who cannot provide the 7 legal documents that proves their ability to be here in Tennessee. More to come. Businesses that are repetitive violators after the 3rd violation will lose their license. So I sent 3 flame emojis and I wrote Top G. I don't know if he knows what it means.
What does the movie Top Gun have to do with this?
Scott, I just want to let you know it's a very positive response. Very positive. Very based. Very based.
Here for it.
Also based. You know what based is? The lightning round.
Ooh.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
Yeah, it's the lightning round. We do it every day this time. We run through all the stories we didn't have a chance to get to, all the stories that wouldn't fill an entire segment, and just some stuff that we wanted to talk about in the meantime. I was walking through the hallway, and I bumped into Chad, and he said, "What are you guys talking about today?" And I said, "So we've been talking about the gays," and I was just joking. We haven't talked about the gays, and
No,
I was
no.
like, and then I said, "Oh, we could have talked about the Supreme Court thing with gay marriage."
True.
I said, "We haven't yet," and then I walked away. I didn't elaborate. I thought it was funny. Sometimes I do things that make me laugh, but I do have this story in the lightning round. It's our first story in the lightning round. The Supreme Court of the United States has been formally asked to take up a case that asked the court to overrule Obergefell versus Hodges, the 2015 ruling that extended legal marriage rights to same-sex couples. Former Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis, who you remembered, was jailed for 6 days in 2015 after refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples on religious grounds. They're appealing the $100,000 jury decision on the basis of emotional damage, as well as the $260,000 in legal costs. Davis submitted a petition for writ last month, which argues that her free exercise of religion protects her from legal liability for the denial of a marriage license, and claimed in the filing that Obergefell decision under the 14th Amendment was egregiously wrong and must be corrected. The petition stated, as predicted at the time it was decided, it would threaten the religious liberty of many Americans who believe that marriage is a sacred institution between one man and one woman. As a result of this court's alteration of the Constitution, Davis found herself with a choice between her religious beliefs and her job. When she chose to follow her faith, she was sued almost immediately for violating the constitutional rights of same-sex couples. The petition marks the first time that the High Court has been asked to take up a case that argues for the overturning of this case. Davis is viewed as one of the only Americans who have the legal standing to bring the case, ABC News reported. If there was ever a case of exceptional importance, Davis attorney Matthew Starver wrote in the document, the first individual in the Republic's history who is jailed for following her religious convictions regarding the historic definition of marriage, this should be it. At the time Davis was Rowan County Clerk in 2015, she was the only person in the local government who could issue marriage licenses under state law. And, well, we all know the rest of that story. Now, here's the thing. I don't often think much about gay marriage. I just don't. I don't let it live rent-free in my head. You can absolutely make the argument that everyone who said, if we legalize gay marriage, we're putting this country on a slippery slope, you can make the argument that they were right. Look at where we've gone since then. We now have child drag shows, and we have gender mutilation of minors. Granted, it's getting better with Donald Trump in office, but where it started was at gay marriage. You can also make the argument that if we're going to bastardize the definition of marriage, well, why can't I marry my sister or my dog? Why can't I have 3 wives? You see, it's very hypocritical to say that you could have one set of marriage but not the other. I'm looking forward to how this case pans out, something that we're definitely going to keep our eyes on here at Super Talk. Again, part of me doesn't really care at the end of the day, because individuals are going to make their own decisions, and they're going to have to come come right with the Lord at their own time. Who am I to say? The best thing that I can tell them is that the most loving thing I can do is tell you you're committing a sin, and you need to fix that if you want to get to an eternal resting place with the Lord. That's all I can tell you. I can tell you it's wrong. I can tell you I don't believe in it, but the rest is going to be on you. Definitely going to keep an eye on this case, and I expect it to heat up moving forward. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. There it is. There it is. You were a little slow to the lightning.
Yeah, my mouse was off the button.
Yeah, okay.
I almost hit this one.
Cheap fakes.
I was like, oh, that might not hit the right energy.
No, that wouldn't. All right, so this comes out of Memphis, this next story in the lightning round.
Almost did it again.
Yeah, you gotta stop. You gotta do.
Sorry, no more KJP.
You gotta do better. All right, this story comes out of Memphis. Local rapper Fast Cash C Money has been killed. R.I.P. Fast Cash C Money. Memphis, dude. Memphis is an absolute mess. Do you want to hear how this sounded when Fast Cash C Money got murdered? Listen, just listen to what it sounded like outside his home. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, that sounds like Baghdad. Nope, just Memphis.
Breaking news now. Family confirming to Fox 13 News that Memphis rapper C Money was killed in that shooting that you just saw there. This happened yesterday in a residential area in Frazier. Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson joining us live from that neighborhood. Daniel, break it down for us. What happened here?
Well, we understand, as you said, that rapper killed Fast Cash C Money. This happened, Ernie, around 12:20. Right after midnight, Sunday. So really, really early in the morning, late Friday into Saturday. Folks, I don't know that I have ever heard and seen this much gunfire at one location.
A lot of gunfire. Again, I made the note. It sounds like Baghdad. It sounds like something that you would see from a war-torn country in the Middle East. You know, you have Donald Trump talking about the crime in D.C. and the murder rate being worse than cities like Bogota, Colombia, or Mexico City. And I look at this city just to our west, and I think the exact same thing. 12 a.m. on a Sunday evening, this is what's going on in a local neighborhood. It's insane.
Yeah, for those of you familiar with the area, this is not too far from Georgian Hills Park. Innovation Church is not far from where I stand this morning. Keep in mind, this is a residential area. You can see in that video, it's hard to determine which direction these shots were coming from. There were so many, but it appears you see someone standing outside that vehicle. Again, it's hard to tell whether that is the shooter or the victim. That car, it starts to bag up. It appears the passenger door is open while the car is backing up. It looks like the person who had been standing outside that vehicle is somehow able to hold on to it as it's backing back. As we understand it right now, the body was discovered at Meritavia and Georgian Drive.
So, rapper Fast Cash C Money, one half of the Fast Cash boys, no longer with us. Rest in peace. How do we make Memphis better? I just got a text from Scott Sapicki. He said, you want to know what's worse? 20,000 students in Memphis don't have a certified teacher right now. That is 1.5 times the student population of Murray County. Is it going to get any better in Memphis anytime soon? I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, we talked about the federalization of the police in D.C., and I think you could make the argument for a lot of big blue cities that this needs to happen. And I think you could make the case for Memphis. Again, rest in peace to this rapper, but geez, it's just a crazy, crazy story. It sounded like Baghdad. Who would want to live there? Wild. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. Liberals have ruined Cheers. Yep. The bar where everybody knows your name has been completely ruined. This one I take personal offense to it. I grew up outside of Boston. When I brought my wife to Boston for the first time to meet my family, I did about 2 hours with my mom and dad, and then I said, we're going to the city, and we left. It was by design. So I don't want to expose her to too much right away. But I took her to Cheers, and you know, she had never really done the Boston thing, so like we took her to Cheers, and you know, had some fun. But that bar has turned into a zombie wasteland. Daily Mail has a story. Boston's iconic Cheers bar desecrated by zombie addicts and vagrants as yet another Democrat city descends into squalor. Yes, Democrats making terrible decisions and ruining everything for everyone. The beloved Boston bar, where everyone knows your name, is the latest tourist hotspot to be surrounded by vagrancy and open drug abuse plaguing many American cities. Cheers straddles Beacon Hill and Boston Common. This is the city's ritziest and best-known neighborhoods. The median house price in this neighborhood is $2.8 million. $2.8 million. And what they're seeing outside, both the residents and the tourists that are poking around and going to get a cold beer at Cheers, they're seeing fentanyl addicts doubled over, looking like the Walking Dead. Where's the local police to clean it up? Where's the local elected officials to say, we're not going to take this? Nowhere to be found. Tourists have talked about the squalor of the adjacent Boston Commons, saying that the public park surrounded by elegant brownstone mansions is now filled with vulnerable people dealing with alcohol and drug dependencies. Outraged locals say the problem in the elite Massachusetts neighborhood is worse than you think, telling Daily Mail authorities will not intervene if someone is visibly high in the public park. Cops don't care. They don't care if someone's smoking or doing drugs. Michael, who left Boston a few years ago for nearby Revere, said as he stood outside the bar, a man walking his dog in the common area early in the morning, who declined to share his name, echoed the same sentiment, saying they know nobody will bother them here. Locals blame the rising drug crisis on Democrat Mayor Michelle Wu, who has whites-only Christmas parties. Fun fact, yeah, that actually happened. Who in 2022 backed an initiative to hand out free taxpayer-funded pipes, syringes, and other drug paraphernalia to addicts on the streets in hopes of reducing communicable diseases spread throughout the shared use of needles. Data showed that people who use syringe service programs are more likely to enter substance use and treatment and stop injecting, Wu's office said in a statement at the time. Yet, years later, we find out that those individuals aren't in treatment. They're doubled over in the park, and you've ruined yet another great American city. Democrats, man, don't. Just don't. That would be my advice. If somebody says, hey, Democrat, just don't. No. Everything they touch turns to crap. 100%. That does it for the lightning round today. We constantly run out of time. There's always more stories to get to, and we'll have more stories for you tomorrow right here on the Chris Hand Show. In the meantime, we're lining up Chad Benson, who's on deck. We'll check in with him and see what's coming up on the Chad Benson Show right here on Super Talk.
Elon Musk's privately funded tunnel from downtown BNA.
The most cutting-edge transit systems in the world.
They call it the Music City Loop. We call it the BNA hole.
We've submitted a list of questions, and so we're looking forward to the opportunity to get answers.
Questions like, how does a tunnel work? Or how can I be the biggest a-hole in the room without even trying? Because clearly, the fiscally responsible thing to do is to keep traffic backed up until every driver becomes an a-hole. The BNA hole. Zero cost to the taxpayers, and that's the real problem for the left.
I kind of think that's on brand.
Not enough opportunity to play tax collector a-hole. The BNA hole, where progress goes to upset liberals.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
.1156 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC.
Better
water
Water
filtration
LLC?
systems. BetterWater.com. Why would you need the water system? Do you know?
Don't do it other than Better Water LLC.
They turned the friggin' frogs gay.
Oh, they did, totally.
Yeah, they did.
Friggin' frogs.
What's up, Chad?
What's up? What's your fight hat? What's that about?
The time Donald Trump almost had the back of his head blown off.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know if it was like it doesn't have anything on it. From here, it just says fight. So it could be like fight night.
If you look closely, you'll see the blood splatter resembles what was across Donald Trump's face.
Because I see stars. And did they do that? Of course they did. They did stars because they know the best thing to do is stars.
Yeah, you remember that. George,
I do remember, but it just says fight.
Yeah, because that's what he stood up and said.
But I didn't know if it was like MMA or something.
No, he said fight.
Yeah, fight. But that's not on your hat. It just says fight.
Yeah.
It'd have been cool if you would have had the hat where it just they would have brought some blood and stuff down like that.
Well, it's there.
I know that.
I like that.
It's a cool hat.
Yeah, I know.
I just didn't know what if it was a fight night.
I feel like you're coming in hot.
No, coming in hot's good. Like you destroyed John Rose. The whole weed thing.
I didn't do any. I just asked a question. That's all I did.
You did. You just ruined everything. The wheels came off that bus fast.
Yeah. I thought John's a nice guy.
I think he's a nice guy. I think he's a great guy. So I think that I think he'll give her a little bit more problem than maybe we're joking about. But
I don't. Yeah, no, I feel I get that too. And there's a long time between now and the election. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Like they'll say March has a big lead. It's like, oh, it's a big lead to lose. You know, who knows what happens?
It is.
And both of them, every time I've met them, they've been nice.
They're very nice. He's nice. She's nice. The reality is that they're 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other. Whoever wins that wins the state.
I think what people got pissed off, though, with John was when they said, okay, that's your personal feelings on marijuana. If it gets through the legislature, it has voter support. Do you sign it or do you veto it? And he goes, I'd veto it. And I think that irritated people more than his stance on weed.
Yeah, you're basically telling the people, I heard your voice and I don't like it. So there.
I also got an email after that interview that somebody said, John Rose doesn't believe in chemtrails. You're going to need to set the record straight on him there. Said, I'm down. Next interview, I'm coming in hot.
Coming in hot with the chemtrails.
Yeah, let's talk about weather modification.
Let's do
John.
that. Let's do it.
Let's talk about geoengineering.
Let's talk about 9-foot corn.
Nobody needs that.
No, nobody does.
No.
That'd be fantastic.
No.
What'd you talk about today?
We talked about a lot of stuff, man. We talked about what's going on in D.C. and the reaction of the left. We talked about Adam Schiff and how he took a big steamy dump on Ed Martin when he was trying to get confirmed. And now that same Ed Martin is investigating him for mortgage fraud.
That's the way that works in D.C.
Poetic.
It's
poetry.
all the way it works in all of those things.
It's poetry. I love it.
I hear stories about that all the time where it's like a person that you didn't like and you were crappy to. Next thing you know, they're your boss in 2 years, and they're looking at you and telling you got to get out of here.
You got to be nice to everybody. The same people you see on the way up, you're going to see on the way down.
Very much so.
And you have no idea who you're going to run into.
And the person that you treat nice to, and it's 6 months, 2 years, 5 years from now, maybe running everything.
100%.
So be cool to them.
What are you paying attention to?
Sorority. It's Rush Week. Pretty excited about that. Have you seen those? Have you seen those? I saw Dan. Was it Dan? Are you talking about the Rush?
Dan did.
How expensive it is? You know how expensive it is? It is insane. What do you go to? When are you guys come out broke? Yes. Like we're talking as much at times like per semester that you have like $5-10 grand a semester.
Just to be in a sorority?
Yeah.
Yeah. No thanks.
I mean, I would try, but I think they'd probably have me arrested. That'll happen every now and then.
Depends. It depends. It depends on which school.
They're making moves.
There are some schools that they'd be fine with.
There are some schools that would be fine with, no doubt about that. It's just I'm just college. You wonder why it's so damn expensive? Because you're extending your childhood for so long, and then you come out and you realize your childhood just cost you 140 grand.
It's expensive.
It is.
It's expensive. Chad's in next. Hang out with us. 12 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$12 on